welcome to this afternoon's live commentary stream of the Food City 500 at Bristol Motor Speedway in the 8th round of the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series schedule. As we get set for today's race, we will have, of course, our pre-race coverage, which begins with some NASCAR trivia. We'll go over the Fantasy League. I'll highlight who I think will run well, not run well for today's race, and then the starting lineup, the point standings outlook after the first 7 races, and of course the off week last week for Easter Sunday. This is the first race in 2 weeks. Last race had another half-mile short track, Martinsville, Virginia. This one here today should be a fun one as well. Chase Elliott winning at Martinsville. His first win of the season has him 4th in the point standings. Each of the top 4 in points are the only 4 drivers to win a Cup race so far this season. As we get things started here, we're going to do some NASCAR Sporkle trivia. And we're going to have to find a quiz for this weekend because I'm not sure exactly where we're going to start things off at. Go NASCAR Bristol and see what they've got there first. Yesterday, during practice and qualifying coverage, we did a quiz, and it was the winners of any Cup, O'Reilly, or truck race at Bristol Motor Speedway. Time Bristol winners. Don't really want to do some of those. I'm going to just find maybe a not track specific one this week just for the heck of it, since we did a track specific quiz yesterday. Try to change things up a little bit, as we're just getting tuned in. Go to the second page. Get the chat up on my phone while I'm searching for a quiz for this week. Bam Hallbond 1771, Marcus Villarreal, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Happy Sunday. Hopefully everybody had a good Easter last Sunday. I'm going to do... Let's go NASCAR drivers' hometowns. See what we can find. Winningest NASCAR driver from every state. NASCAR drivers' hometowns. It's only 5 minutes. You know, we'll do 2 short quizzes this week. How about that? Instead of one extended long one, we'll do 2 short quizzes. So this is NASCAR drivers' hometowns. I don't know if this is all active drivers or not. Actually, looking at it, it is not all active drivers. So we're going to do the best we can with what we've got. I do think I can get quite a few of these. 31 is going to be tough, but I would imagine these are like NASCAR's best. I know Mark Martin's from Arkansas, so he is probably the Batesville, Arkansas. Cambridge, Wisconsin is Matt Kenseth. Whoops. Can't spell. There we go. That's him. Corpus Christi, Texas is the Labonte brothers, Terry and Bobby. Rushville, Indiana. That's Ryan Newman. Oh, no, that's Tony Stewart. My bad. They're both from Indiana. Pittsburgh, Indiana. That was not Newman. We'll skip that. Owensboro, Tennessee. Is it Sterling Marlin? Owensboro, Kentucky is Waltrip. Okay, so it says Tennessee. It's supposed to be Owensboro, Kentucky. would be Darrell Waltrip, but I'll let it pass. Pearson, I believe, is on here as South Carolina. Richard Petty's got to be one of the North Carolina. Lee Petty as well. Kannapolis is Earnhardt. Las Vegas is Busch. Denny Hamlin, the Norfolk, Virginia? No. Alan Kulwicki, the other Wisconsin one, maybe? Yes, okay. Dawsonville, Georgia, Bill Elliott. Allison, Alabama. Yarborough's got to be on here, I would assume. That would be the other South Carolina. There's a lot. There's a lot of North Carolinas. New challenge. If Alex Bowman wins, you get 1,500. My bank approved it, so it will go through. There's no way Alex Bowman's winning today. I'd be shocked. I'd be absolutely shocked. I appreciate that, though, Sharik. Barbara, thanks for tuning in. Yes, the Bush brothers from Vegas. Thanks for playing along. We do have 2:40 left on the clock. El Cajon is Jimmy Johnson. And then we got Junior Johnson with Aranda, North Carolina. So we got a freebie there. William Byron. Okay, Red. I was going to say, William Byron's from North Carolina. I got Red Byron. Let's put Flock. Because we're getting some old-timey names on here. Fireball Roberts. Okay, he's from Daytona Beach. Let's try Joe Weatherly. These are just like NASCAR's greats. Norfolk, Virginia. Okay. Who else can we maybe name? Like Marvin Panch? Bobby Isaac, there we go. Catawba, North Carolina. I'm guessing on a lot of these, but Rusty Wallace has got to be on here. He's St. Louis, Missouri. That's right. There's another Spartanburg, South Carolina. So David Pearson's from there. Who else? Middletown's Joey Logano. Yes. Is that on here? I didn't see it. Oh, Newton, North Carolina. No, never mind. There is a lot of North Carolinas on here. There are so many drivers from North Carolina. Where are the Jarretts? They're from North Carolina. Okay. I got Petty. You got 25 of 31. Who else is from North Carolina? These are a lot of like old names like Harry Gant, Ernie Irvin. This is where the struggle. Ricky Rudd's got to be on here, right? Nope. Dang it. Gordon. Thank you on the Pittsburgh, Indiana, Jeff Gordon one. I was going to guess. Obviously, I mean, I just assumed he was from California. He must have been born in Pittsburgh, Indiana, then, and then lived out in California. It's good I got that. Running out of time fast. It's another Charlotte, North Carolina. Curious to see who we missed. Got 26 of 31. Herb Thomas, Benny Parsons, Bill Rexford from New York. I would have never gotten that. And then Buck Baker. There's another name we missed, I think. Yeah, hang on. I gotta scroll down the screen. There was another name missed. Who was it? Rex White. He was the other one from South Carolina. Honestly, with who's left right there, I was on the right track with the old names. I think we did pretty good. 84%, average score 64%. I wanted to find like active drivers and where they're from because I do feel I could get 100% on that quiz. Let's go active NASCAR drivers. Guess hometown. Okay. Active NASCAR drivers. State. Let's go active NASCAR drivers. Best active drivers. NASCAR active most polls. NASCAR active driver top 100 stats of all time. That's interesting. We might do that. Most starts without a win. Yeah, okay, so top 50 in all-time starts. Let's do this. Let's do this one. Top 50 in all-time starts in the NASCAR Cup Series. It gives us the number of starts they've made and the years that they raced. That's it. That's all we've got. So our second quiz for the day, since we do two shorter ones, this one's 10 minutes in length. We have 10 minutes, top 50 all-time NASCAR starts. Quick shout outs to those of you watching I haven't shouted out yet. We got Solomon Lee, Connor Burke, Sharitha Cooper, Steve J, Barbara Koskick. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. I think this is going to be a fun quiz. I've not attempted one like this before. So we just got to name drivers who raced for an extremely long period of time. The first one's Richard Petty. And then Kyle Petty's going to be on here as well. Jeff Gordon raced for a long time. Ricky Rudd, Mark Martin, Kevin Harvick raced for a long time. Jimmy Johnson, still racing. Ryan Newman raced for a long time. Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin, the Bush brothers, both of them have got to be on here. Sterling Marlin raced for an extremely long time. Oh, he's not on here. Dale Jarrett. Bobby Allison raced for a long time. So did Darrell Waltrip. Actually, both of them are going to, yeah, Darrell and Michael. Kenseth. I don't think Edwards is going to be on here because, yeah, he retired pretty early. Earnhardt, junior, senior. Almirola was actually around for, okay. That was a bad guess. The Labonte brothers raced for an extremely long period of time. Terry Labonte, third most starts the Cup Series. McMurray? Yeah, Jamie McMurray was around for a while, 02. I think this quiz was last updated in 2022. Because I see a lot of 22, and there weren't that many drivers that obviously retired that season. So, like, rookie in 2004, Greg Biffle raced for a while. Yeah, there we go. 515. Casey Mears, he's still racing part-time. JJ Yaley has to be on here. Right? I was going to say, he's been part-timing for a while. Morgan Shepherd. Rusty Wallace. The Burtons. Mostly Jeff. Ward not on the list. But yeah, Jeff Burton's on here. Oh, Clint Boyer. He's on the list. We got two rookies in 2004 on here. See, that's the thing. It might not even be rookies in 04. Casey Kane. He's one of them. Who else? Let's go back to some older ones. Joe Weatherly. No. Roberts passed away young, so he's probably not on here. I gotta think. Jimmy Spencer. Kenny Schrader. Kenny Schrader's definitely on here. I don't think Alan Kulwicki's on here. Nope. Pearson. I'm surprised I didn't have David Pearson. Benny Parsons. Bodine. Got Jeff and Brett. Elliott Sadler raced for a while. Oh, but it wasn't always in the Cup Series. Yeah. Michael McDowell. He's been around for a minute. I actually felt really good about that answer. AJ Allmendinger, but he had some gap years in there. Rookie in 2008. Joey Logano. Keselowski. Okay, Brad's on here. See what the chat's got to say. Jeff Green. I mean, it was worth a try. I mean, Dave Blaney did race for a while, but Kevin LePage. Trying too hard. Oh, Neil Bonnet. Nope, never mind. Did I not put Jeff Gordon yet? I did. Rookie in 93. Who was a rookie the same year as Jeff Gordon? I guess Gordon's first race technically was 92, but he was a rookie in 93. Raced in 2019. He retired from full-time racing in 2015, but then he raced again in 19. Who? I mean, that's like the same career as Jeff Gordon. And it's not Jeff Gordon. The racing again in 2019 is a weird one. I don't think Brendan Gaughan's on here because most of those races that he ran for that long period of time were Truck and O'Reilly. Bill Elliott, yes. He did race for a while. Thank you. Thank you, chat. I tried Harry Gann already, but he actually got a late start in his career, so he's not on here. Who's the other rookie in 2004? Raced at least until 2022. Truex. That's who it is. Martin Truex Jr. 1949. Raced in the inaugural NASCAR season all the way up until 1976. So, like, Byron, Rex, like, who raced in the inaugural NASCAR season? I don't know who that is. I not put Yarborough yet? I thought I did. I did not put Cale Yarborough. Thank you for that. Joe Nemechek raced for a while. There we go. Okay, so Joe Nemechek was a rookie the same year as Jeff Gordon and raced up to 2015. That's so crazy. that like Jeff Gordon and Joe Nemechek had the same career timeline. You would have never known. Vastly different careers. That's wild. Uh, they were actually teammates at Hendrick for a short bit there. Retired in 2002 with 883 starts. Who am I missing? Fourth most starts in NASCAR Cup Series history. We got 1 minute. Jeremy Mayfield didn't race that long. (1968 to 2002). That is such a weird time frame. Who is that? And how do I not have him on here? I feel like I should have this guy. Dave Marcus raced for a really. There he is. Okay. I know he was in the 2001 Daytona 500, so it was Dave Marcus. Thank goodness I got that. All right. The Baker. Why do I always forget the Baker? So Buck and Buddy Baker are both on here. James Hilton raced for a really long time. Wendell Scott is on this list of the top 50 most starts. Neil Castles, Elmo Langley, Buddy Arrington, JD McDuffie. Honestly, I'm not upset with where we ended up. I'm glad I got Dave Marcus right at the finish there. 84%. That's the same exact percentage we had on the last quiz. That's crazy. Two completely different quizzes too. 76% is the average score, so we do keep our streak alive. We've gotten at least the average score or better every quiz we've taken so far this season. So thanks for playing along at home. That was a lot of fun. They did go through the national anthem already for today's race, so we are not that far away from the drop of the green flag. I do have to get my fantasy team in. We'll do that right now. You can join the NASCAR Fantasy League on the NASCAR.com website and or the NASCAR mobile app. Chance to win 2 tickets any NASCAR race if you're choosing the following season if you win our regular season and or playoff championship. So the team for this week, I'm going to put it in on my phone because I think I got to log in on here, and I just want to make sure I'm going to get this in before 3:06. So I'm going to talk it over for right now. Yeah, I'm not signed in. It logged me out having that week off and not touching the fantasy league in a little bit. All right, so team for this weekend. Gonna throw Ryan Blaney on there. If for some reason we have high tire fall off today, which I don't think we're going to, but if we did, I want to have him on my team just in case. Kyle Larson's my pick to win the race today, so I'm definitely taking him. Ty Gibbs has been red hot. I'll have him on my team. Toyotas have been looking very strong. Give me Chase Briscoe. He's ran good on the concrete ovals with JGR in the recent years. And Chris Buescher has won at Bristol in the next-gen car. He qualified well. I might take Chris Buescher. Got a Carson Hocevar, Bubba Wallace, Christopher Bell. Give me Christopher Bell. He has won once this weekend. So my team's going to be Chase Briscoe, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Ty Gibbs for this week. Head-to-head matchups are Chase Elliott versus Brad Keselowski. Going to take Chase Elliott. Hamlin versus Larson. I have Larson for the win today, so he's going to be my pick there. Ty Gibbs versus Chase Briscoe is a tough one. Gibbs has been really hot lately. I'm going to trust that 54 team better than the 19 just by way of how things have ran so far this season. Just going to take the guy that's been more hot. And then Hocevar versus Barry, I'm going to take Carson Hocevar. So with like 3 to 4 minutes to spare, I got my fantasy team in for the week after nearly forgetting. But again, you can join on the NASCAR mobile app and or NASCAR website, NASCAR.com. KRC League, KRC in all capital letters, space, capital L on League. KRC League is the league name. Regine Huddleston, Ricky Thompson, thanks for tuning in, playing along. So again, NASCAR app or NASCAR website, NASCAR.com, NASCAR mobile app. Point standings coming into this weekend. Here's a look at it. Tyler Reddick comes in as a series points leader, an 82-point lead. He will be the points leader at the end of the race today. No matter what happens, he can finish last with no stage points. He will still be the points leader because the most points he could score in a single race is 76. Hey, Kane is given the command to fire engines for today's race. As a WWE fan, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Mayor of Knox County, Tennessee. We've got Kane given the command to fire engines. He's still looking jacked, too. That's crazy. Old man Kane. All right. Anyway, Tyler Reddick, the series points leader. Ryan Blaney sitting second, minus 82. Third is Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott in fourth. Coincidentally, the top 4 points all have at least one win this season. Nobody else has a win on the year. Obviously, 4 for Reddick and then 1 apiece for Blaney, Hamlin, and Elliott. Byron sits 5th in points. He did not qualify well. He's starting in 30th for today's race, so it's going to be fun to watch him come from behind. Ty Gibbs has been red hot. He's 6th in points this season. A great start to the year after finishing 6th or better in each of the last 5 events. Then you got Christopher Bell 7th, Brad Keselowski 8th, Kyle Larson, 3-time Bristol winner, is 9th in points. Chris Buescher rounds out the top 10. He's another former Bristol winner in the field. Bubba Wallace 11th, Joey Logano 12th, Ryan Preece 13th, Shane Van Gisbergen still in chase spot 14th. And then, very interesting, Spire Motorsports has been so consistent top to bottom of their team with the 3 cars. They're 15th, 16th, and 17th in points between the 3 of them. 2 in the chase, 1 just on the outside. That points deficit between Suarez and McDowell for the final chase spot coming into this week after race 7 of 26 in the regular season is only 9 points. So that's going to be very tight, I'm sure, all season long, but extremely tight knowing it's still early in the year as well. Outside of McDowell, others on the bubble outside looking in are Austin Cindric, who are 18th in points, Ross Chastain 19th, and AJ Allmendinger at 20th. Some bigger names that are deeper in the point standings. Chase Briscoe still trying to climb out of that early season hole for JGR. He's 21st in points. It's just crazy. 7 races in. He's 21st in points this year after making the championship 4 a year ago. What a vastly different season he has had from one year to the next. Kyle Busch, another sluggish start to the year. Try not to miss the chase 3 years in a row. We'll see if Busch can get out of this early season deficit. And we'll see what he can do today. He is a 9-time Bristol winner. 1 of which on dirt, 8 on concrete. And rookie Connor Zilic is another one I wanted to spotlight. He's 33rd in points. He's the only full-time rookie this year, so he's basically going to win the Rookie of the Year outright. But 33rd in points, quite a deficit. Obviously, when we start going to tracks that he's going to see for a second time in his rookie season, I think he's really going to turn the corner there. He could score a lot of points, maybe even get a win or 2 on road courses through the summer. Watkins Glen's coming up next month. Maybe he could try to help dig himself out of the points there. I'm not going to count him out of it by any means. And Alex Bowman, another driver who I should spotlight. Obviously, he's back in the car this weekend after missing the last 4 races with vertigo. And he is over 2 full races worth of points behind 16th Daniel Suarez. It begins today on his chase just to make the chase. And that's going to be an interesting story to follow along with as we go through the summer months. Still in the spring, though. It's still early. After today's race is over, we have 18 races left in the regular season. It's a long ways to go yet to get into the top 16 in points. And obviously for those drivers at the very front of the standings to try to catch Reddick for the regular season championship so they can have that 2,100 points boost when the chase begins. Set themselves up for the best possible chance to win a championship. Cars are on the racetrack. We're going to be going green here shortly. First, let's go through the starting lineup for today's race. as follows on screen. Ryan Blaney on the pole for the second time in his NASCAR Cup career at Bristol. Tyler Reddick, first front row start at Bristol. He'll be rolling off in the second position. And road number 2 will be Chase Briscoe and Riley Herbst. Herbst's best career start in qualifying for him. Ty Gibbs trying to keep the streak alive of 5 straight finishes of 6th or better in the last 5 races. Finished in the top 5 in last year's Spring Bristol race. He was 3rd. Ross Chastain will start outside of row 3 with Gibbs. And row 4 will be 2 former Bristol winners, Chris Buescher and Kyle Larson. Larson a 3-time winner, and Buescher the night race win in 2022. Austin Cindric, Carson Hocevar in row number 5. Row 6 for Denny Hamlin, a 4-time Bristol winner, and Bubba Wallace, who has a career best here, up 3rd. Daniel Suarez and Christopher Bell will line up in row 7. Row 8 for Zane Smith and Noah Gragson. Ryan Preece and last race winner Chase Elliott. In row 9, Michael McDowell and multi-time Bristol winner Joey Logano in row number 10. Row 11 will be Brad Keselowski, a 3-time Bristol winner, and A.J. Allmendinger in row number 11 as well. Row 12 for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is a 2-time runner-up at Bristol, and Austin Dillon. Josh Berry and rookie Connor Zilic in row 13. Welcome back Alex Bowman starting inside of row 14 alongside Eric Jones. Kyle Busch, a 9-time Bristol winner, over 20 times across all 3 series, and Cole Custer will be in row 15. Row 16, John Hunter Nemechek and Ty Dillon. Shane Van Gisbergen and William Byron deep in the field, both in the top 16 in points, starting 33rd, 34th in row 17. Row 18, Todd Gilliland, Cody Ware, and Chad Fincham. And row 19 rounds out our 37-car field. That is the only open entry for this weekend. Stage splits today will be 125 laps in both Stage 1 and Stage 2. Final stage will be 250 laps. That will make up our full distance for today's race. You can make it on fuel anywhere between 2 to 3 pit stops. The least amount of stops possible will likely win the race, knowing that we have not seen a lot of tire fall off this weekend across all 3 series, and even practice yesterday for the Cup side as well. We've seen very high tire fall off in 2 of the 6 next-gen races here, but the other 4, there's been little to none. So we're going to find out in the first 50 or so laps of this race what kind of a race we are going to see. I would lean towards the side of not having a lot of tire fall off if I had to guess. But I thought that last summer, based off of practice and qualifying from the day before, I don't think we're going to see that here today. I'm more confident we're not going to see that today than last summer when I was wrong on that prediction. H. Holly D, AJ up, welcome to the stream as well. World's fastest half mile, yes it is. Frank Powers, welcome to the stream. This is my personal favorite racetrack. I love Bristol Motor Speedway. I've actually been here outside of my home track more times than any other track on the schedule. If I'm counting, obviously I haven't been there yet this year. I believe I've been to Bristol 5 times, 20, 21, 22, dirt racing 23. I missed 24 and I was there in 25. So yeah, 5 years. Been there 5 times. It's a blast. It's been my favorite track since I was a kid. And I'm going to be loving the racing we're going to be seeing here today as well. And my guy Ryan Blaney's on the pole. So, you know, maybe he can get a win. That would make things great also. We will be doing some diecast showings at the end of Stage 1 and Stage 2 today. I'm going to get the chat poll going, and you can vote for who you think is going to win today's race. Let me make sure to get that up here before the start. Who wins the Food City 500 at Bristol? Question mark. So we'll throw pole sitter Ryan Blaney. We'll throw my pick, Kyle Larson. And based off of, you know, who we see at the front, honestly, you know, Denny Hamlin has won 2 next-gen races here. I'll just throw Denny Hamlin in there as well. If you think somebody other than Hamlin, Blaney, or Larson will win, you can vote for other. Kind of a stacked driver poll for this weekend. Curious to see who you have picked to win. Yeah, fuel window is 165 to 175 laps, so mathematically, again, you could make it on 2 stops, but we shall see. Might be closer to 3 because of how the stage splits are over 100 laps into the run, if I had to guess. Ryan Blaney gets a great launch in the restart zone. Green flag is in the air. We're underway in the Food City 500 at Bristol. Almost 3 wide down into the first turn. Tyler Reddick really sluggish on the start. Gets passed by not only obviously Blaney, but both of the second row cars of Riley Herbst and Kyle Larson race around him to the outside. Ross Chastain, after starting 6th, which would have been outside of row 3, got to 2nd place. I don't even know how that happened, as he got by both Larson and Herbst off the start. Now Larson going to get by Herbst through turns 3 and 4 at the end of lap number 2, and he's into 3rd. What a jump by Chastain, and what a not-so-good jump for Tyler Reddick, losing 4 positions in that opening lap. Cars trying to settle in primarily one groove racetrack right now, down around the bottom. That groove is going to widen out throughout the course of the day, but it's going to take some time to get it rubbered in. For these first 4 laps that are complete, it is the 12th car out in front leading them all. Blaney with a 0.3 of a second advantage over Ross Chastain already. Scratch that. Now after lap 5, it's a 0.7 of a second lead. It's quite a bit faster than Chastain the last 2 laps as our leaderboard updates. 1.2 seconds back for Kyle Larson in 3rd. 1.5 seconds back Riley Herbst in 4th, and Tyler Reddick 1.8 back in 5th. So that rounds out the top 5 here in the opening half dozen laps. Jojo Frederico Sanchez, thanks for tuning in. James Divers, thanks for tuning in. Penske and a Ford fan, yes I am. Why yes I am. A little over a second lead now for the 12th car. Setting the pace early. Fastest lap for Blaney was actually on lap 4 with a 15.654. And the last lap he just ran at the end of lap 8 was only about 0.02 of a second slower than that. The truck race, we saw drivers running some of their fastest laps more than 10 laps into the run. The O'Reilly race kind of the same way. And we saw old tires prevail for Connor Zilic to win on a late race restart, with Larson only restarting back and forth on about 60 lap pressure tires. Had 23 laps on that final run to get to the lead, just couldn't get by. So qualifying meant a lot yesterday because of knowing that that was going to be a possibility today in the Cup race as well. Now the Cup races here at the Next Gen have been vastly different on a couple of occasions with the high tire fall off, but again, practice yesterday didn't seem like there was hardly any tire fall off, and there were actually teams that were making fastest laps of their entire practice run later in the session when they would come in, make some adjustments, and go back out on the track, and that was on the same set of tires that they started the entire session of 25 minutes with, because you're not allowed to change your set of tires with the ones that you would have started with in practice. You start with a certain set of Goodyear tires. You have to keep them for the full 25 minutes. Obviously, you can come into the pits, make adjustments, but got to keep those tires on it. Kind of give a false read at times, but there were a couple of drivers like Austin Cindric and Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs were able to go back out on their second run and actually pick up and actually got themselves into the top 10 in the practice sheet when they wouldn't have been otherwise. Blaney is set sail right now. Ryan Blaney's led over 100 laps at Bristol twice in his Cup career, but he has not won here before. 2 career poles as well. He won both stages in the summer race last year, only led about 31 laps. But he did win the first 2 stages en route to a 4th place finish. His best career finish at Bristol is 4th 3 different times. Always good to start up on the front row, though. And in the Next Gen era, we've seen a lot of winners coming from the front rows just in the last year or 2 alone. The other front row starter, Tyler Reddick, has won from the front row already this year as well, winning at COTA from the pole. Denny Hamlin started front row last weekend, and he ended up finishing in 2nd. Led the most laps in that race at Martinsville. I said last week, last race 2 weeks ago. All right, 20 laps in for the Discount Tire 12 Ford Mustang. Blaney cut the mullet this week, but he kept the mustache. I think there's a lot of speed in that stash this year. Second in points for a reason, Mr. Consistency. And he does have one win, looking for number 2, and a win would be huge in trying to catch Tyler Reddick for that regular season championship, coming off the heels of a 6th place finish at Martinsville in the last outing. Look at some of the other season statistics in the early going of the year. 5 top 10 finishes, most in the series, both for Reddick and Blaney. 4 top 5s on the year. All 4 of those are wins for Reddick, most in the series for both of those two statistic stat lines. And 3 top 5s for Hamlin and Elliott. Also 3 for Christopher Bell. 4 top 5s for Ty Gibbs, tied for the most with Reddick. And if we look at laps led, after leading over 200 laps at Martinsville in the last race, Denny Hamlin has led the most laps this season, 444 for him. Second most, Christopher Bell with 225. Third most, Tyler Reddick with 189. 156, Brad Keselowski with the 4th most laps led. And 137 for Kyle Larson, 5th most laps led on the year. Ryan Blaney has led for 54 laps this season in the first 7 races, despite having a win, a couple of stage wins as well. And he's already led about half that many laps today in the first 7 minutes of the race. AJ Summers, thanks for tuning in also. Is there a race in today? Yes, there is. Bristol, baby. Joe Rochester, welcome to the stream. There's speed in the stash. Yes, that's the exact quote. For me, there is speed in the stash. I'm a firm believer of it. I mean, Richard Petty won all those races with one of the greatest mustaches in NASCAR history. Dale Sr. too. Dale Jarrett's a former champion of the sport. He had a good mustache back in the day. Terry Labonte's another one. Multi-time Cup champion. He had a good mustache. There's a lot of speed in mustaches. Davey Allison. Pretty solid mustache back in his day. If Ryan Blaney wins a championship this year with that mustache, I'm just saying, you can't cut it. If he keeps it all year and he wins the title, he's got to have that thing for at least the rest of his racing days. I mean, you have to. There's a lot of NASCAR legends that have won countless races and championships with mustaches at the top level. See, like Tyler Reddick growing out the mullet last year didn't work for him. He went winless. He cuts the mullet and he comes out of the gates and wins 4 of the first 6 races. You know, if you change something up and good luck happens with it, I'd be superstitious enough to keep it. But if it's the complete opposite, like Reddick, you know, you probably just got to get rid of it. Probably just got to get rid of it at that point. It's not giving you any good luck, good fortune. Kyle Larson made a pass on Ross Chastain recently for second. He's actually running faster lap times than that of Ryan Blaney, as Blaney has caught lap traffic at the back end of the pack within these last 10 laps or so. There are a couple cars off the lead lap. Chad Fincham, Cody Ware have already gone a lap down. Ty Dillon is the next to last on the lead lap, and William Byron, 34th after starting 30th. Started 34th. He's still back at 34th. That 24 team has struggled this weekend, and I have not seen Byron struggle this bad probably ever. Larson and Blaney, probably going to be the 2 favorites for the race today. Larson was my pick to win, even though Blaney's my favorite driver. He's leading these laps early, and Larson's putting a lot of heavy pressure on him. The last 2 races that we had seen no tire fall off or little of it at Bristol, Kyle Larson led over 400 laps in both of those races, won both stages and won the race in both events. That's over 800 laps led and 4 stage wins, 2 race wins. Big believer that Kyle Larson is the guy to beat here today, with that being said. Because he can run fast at this racetrack and he doesn't have to worry about his tires falling off, and he can just keep the same pace he's running. And right now it's a pretty fast one. He's getting a little bit of help from his teammate William Byron, who was holding up Ryan Blaney for a couple of corners, and now Larson's all of a sudden within about 2 car lengths of the 12 car. Byron going a lap down. I mean, that 24 car being in 34th place, a lap down in 38 laps, we have not seen that in a long time. I mean, even in Byron's early days before he got his first career cup win in his second season, like I don't remember him running this bad anywhere. And it's just crazy too, because Kyle Larson, teammate of Byron's, in second, and he's looking like the fastest car on the track right now. So pretty wild. Byron's had good finishes here. He's never won at Bristol, but he is consistent at most tracks, really. And I wouldn't say that Byron is a driver that has a weakness anywhere. He's kind of just consistently good everywhere we go. Road courses, drafting ovals, short tracks, intermediates, he's won on them all. All types of disciplines in the NASCAR Cup level. But he is going to have his hands full today. You go a lap down this early in the race, and he's not even in the free pass position now. It's going to be very hard to get back on the lead lap. We're going to have to see what kind of adjustments he can make and what kind of strategy he can pull off. If we don't have a lot of tire fall off, we're probably not going to see a lot of yellows either. We only had 2 cautions for incident in the spring race last season, and the race was done in about 2.5 hours. It's not a lot of time to try to make that lap back up on a half-mile short track, especially with how short the race itself is when running clean and green all the way through it. Minimal cautions, least amount of time to try to split some strategy up, and with 0 tire fall off, there's not going to be as many pit stops either. Try to maybe take a wave around at a certain point in time. This first stage goes caution free. You can't take the wave around. You got to come in and take tires. Tires don't matter, but 125 laps on them, you still don't want them to blow out on you after about 200 laps of the same set. There is a limit. We just don't know exactly what that limit is. And I don't think these teams want to test it out at all costs. Lap and a half ago, Kyle Larson made a pretty clean pass to the inside of Ryan Blaney for the lead, picking Blaney behind a lap car. Blaney tried to cut him off, couldn't get down to the bottom of the track soon enough. Larson looking to end that winless streak, has a championship in the winless streak. He won his last cup race at Kansas in the spring of last year. For instance, we go to Kansas next week. Granted, Kansas was in May last year versus mid-April this year, but it's been that long since we've seen Kyle Larson in victory lane in the Cup Series. He does have one O'Reilly win this season, and he actually led over 200 of 300 laps in yesterday's race as well. Did not get the win because of pitting with a late caution. I would imagine we get an incident late in this race, that 5 team is staying out of the pits, and they are not going to lose the race 2 days in a row the same way. Probably better that happened to Larson yesterday than the series he's racing for points in today. 50 laps in at Martinsville. They're caution-free, not only caution-free, but commercial-free on Fox Sports 1 right now through 50 laps. I greatly appreciate that on FS1 in their coverage right now. We'll go through the full field running order and see how everything's shaken up after these first 50 laps. Kyle Larson out in front, Ryan Blaney in second, Ross Chastain third, Riley Herbst fourth, and Christopher Bell in fifth. Sixth is Tyler Reddick, Carson Hocevar seventh, Bubba Wallace eighth, Chase Briscoe ninth, and Austin Cindric in 10th. Denny Hamlin 11th, Chris Buescher 12th, Daniel Suarez 13th, Ty Gibbs in 14th, Zane Smith 15th, Joey Logano 16th, 17th is Noah Gragson, AJ Allmendinger in 18th, Ryan Preece 19th, and 20th is Austin Dillon, Chase Elliott in 21st, Brad Keselowski 22nd, Michael McDowell 23rd, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 24th, 25th is Eric Jones, Josh Berry 26th, Kyle Busch 27th, Alex Bowman 28th, Connor Zilch 29th, and 30th is Cole Custer. John Nemechek is the last car in the lead lap at 31st, and Shane Van Gisbergen is 32nd a lap down. 33rd is Todd Gilliland. William Byron 34th, Ty Dillon 35th, Cody Ware 36th, and Chad Fincham 37th. That rounds out the full field running order. Larson stuck behind Nemechek, struggling to get by him on the outside groove of the racetrack. Goes a little bit too far wide out of the groove. Blaney to the inside, not able to take that lead back. Blaney's not letting that 5-car drive away from him, though the lap traffic is helping him a bit. Larson gets really loose up out of turn 2, enough so that he actually washed wide, made contact with the lapper Nemechek. Bounced off of him, kept going. Tight squeeze, and they made contact again for the second straight straightaway. Finally gets by the 42 car. And now he's got Cole Custer blocked in front of him. Custer goes to the outside. Larson around the bottom, clears him up out of turn 4, and he's put some distance now between Blaney and himself. Blaney still has not gotten by Nemechek yet. Ryan goes to the outside. So 2 lap cars between the top 2 in the running order and a little over a half a second gap on top of it. Christopher Bell charging up the leaderboard to 3rd place, looking quick. He won the summer race here last year, his first career Bristol Cup win. He actually won a race earlier in the weekend. He won the truck race on Friday night. Bell 3.5 seconds out of the lead, but he's up 11 positions from the start of today's race already. Glad I put him on the fantasy team. I got the top 3 right now. I'll take that. I believe Bell has gained more spots than any other driver in the field so far today. Ty Gibbs down 9 positions from 5th to 14th. Mentioned about Reddick obviously losing all those spots on the first lap. He's down 4 spots from 2nd to 6th, and he's stayed in 6th ever since. Other big movers in the correct direction. Looking at this, Chase Briscoe actually in the wrong direction is down 7 spots to 10th. So JGR either moving way up or way down in the running order. In the beginning of today's race, 61 laps in, first commercial break on Fox Sports 1, middle of stage 1. Kyle Larson leads after Ryan Blaney from the pole was able to lead for the first 43 laps. 18 consecutive lead for Larson, and we've got a spinner. Brad Keselowski is around up out of turn 2, and we have our first caution of the race. Caution's out for the first time today. I believe Connor Zilich is going to get the free pass in 29th. So the rookie is back on the lead lap. We'll see what kind of pit strategy we end up getting. Last lap by Larson was only a half a second slower than his fastest lap of the race. That's with 60 laps on their tires. So 60 laps on these Goodyears and only a half a second of fall off for the fastest car on track and the race leader, Kyle Larson.
Brad Keselowski was running 22nd when he spun in turn 2 from contact. Well, I see the Goodyear lettering off that left rear a little bit, and let's watch why. Back here in the back, check this out. Looks like Stenhouse on the inside.
Oh, Ricky.
Got up and got in his left rear and spun him right around.
Yeah, it looked like a 47 of Stenhouse might have had to chase his car up the racetrack, and like we saw with Ryan Blaney earlier, got loose. Brad Keselowski just happened to be in the wrong spot.
Well, Brad will stay on the lead lap. Here's some radio from Ricky Stenhouse.
All good, right? Yeah, I didn't really figure it there. I was kind of looking back at the leader. Yeah, a second, right?
Josh?
Well, for Kyle Larson, they're having some trouble wrapping the bottom. Said he is losing so far right now. Be 4 tires and fuel for that. Jamie?
Tyler Reddick says he feels like the car is a little bit disconnected, getting tighter in the front end and the back is just out of the track. He said, so they're going to make an air pressure adjustment here and 4 tires. Swing across over to the front stretch and regain.
Christopher Bell up 11 positions where he started in 3rd place right now. Very happy. Doesn't have any complaints with the car. The team complimenting on him on his patience behind the wheel right now. And Ryan Blaney in the 12 cars, they caught traffic, started a fight with that car getting 2 piece in the traffic.
Remember, we put on both sides of the racetrack here. You enter the pits at turn 2, and under caution have to come all the way around and exit at turn 1. 2 drivers stayed out. Chase Elliott, Josh Berry.
All right. Chase Elliott and Josh Berry staying out of the pits. Elliott actually, he tried a strategy last week where he stayed out, and it ended up working out for him. He won the race. Now, granted, that was in stage 3 and not in stage 1, but it worked once. Why not try it again, you know? Go for a stage win. He's in the thick of things for the regular season championship, 4th in points, so got to go for it. Christopher McComas, thanks for tuning in. Greetings from West Virginia. Under caution for the first time today, contact between Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Brad Keselowski. With Keselowski going for a spin in turns 1 and 2 after contact from underneath. Stenhouse slipping up the racetrack, and as he washed up the track, caught Brad in the left rear. Lazy spin for Brad, though, kept it off the outside wall. He'll continue on. Same for Stenhouse. Brad only losing about 5 positions with the spin. Connor Zilic again gets the free pass. So he's not the leader on our screen like it's showing. 3 lead changes so far in today's race. So Chase Elliott going to be the leader. Then Josh Berry will be second on the restart. Kyle Larson third. Ryan Blaney fourth. Christopher Bell fifth. And Riley Herbston sixth. Larson won the race off of pit road. We'll take our first break. You're listening live on KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage of today's Food City 500 at Bristol. Tyler Reddick speeding on pit road. Ooh, that's a tough break for him. Yep, I see him dropping back right now. So Reddick, who was in 6th place, after starting second, speeding on pit road, he will now be at the tail end of the lead lap in the 29th place position. A lot more cars came to pit road than I was expecting. Therefore, there were a lot of drivers who ended up taking the wave around that are now back on the lead lap. John Hunter Nemechek, Shane Van Gisbergen, Todd Gilliland, Ty Dillon, Cody Ware all took the wave around. Cole Custer, William Byron, Chad Fincham still a lap down. With where Chase Elliott was at in the running order, if you were too far back, you wouldn't have been able to take the wave around because of those 2 drivers staying out. So that's why not everybody ended up taking it. And that's unfortunate for Byron that he was that far back that, yeah, he's not going to be able to take the wave around. So he comes on to pit road, makes some adjustments, and I'm sure that team needed some adjustments.
You pit on both sides of the racetrack, but you leave the pits and go back up on the racetrack on the same side that you enter. Under caution, it's different. You have to run the whole pit road all the way around. And Tyler Reddick was nabbed for speeding in block number 4 at the pits that are above the R line, Bristol.
Yeah, so that's where Reddick was speeding. And a number of things, he could have been trying to gas it up to get into his box. Or you have him trying to speed up for the curve. But for him, let's see what he said first.
Everywhere, went back on that. All right, intimidate for sure. Okay, yeah, copy. Sorry, I did not catch that.
So that is his first speeding penalty of the year.
Yeah, and that's a major mistake right there. That miscommunication and the track position that they have to give up. That's a massive penalty. Michael Jordan probably didn't like to hear that, but he's been around this long enough. He knows how it works.
I can't believe they see it as Mike. So he will restart 31st. Tyler Reddick will. The free pass goes to Connor Zilic. And don't forget the 2 drivers who will restart on the front row did not stop and take on Sunoco fuel with 0 carbon bioethanol and Goodyear tires.
Under 70 laps, Kevin, I kind of thought like you did, it's tough to show it take at least 100 for that outside line to come in, but it's already here.
Yeah, that outside line came in quick, and I think it's going to continue to move up the racetrack. I think the interesting part is going to see what happens with these 2 guys on the front row. Every time we use this traction compound, it usually tears that left front tire up. Larry showed us one yesterday and gets feathered.
Now, 5 of the lapped cars stayed out, did not pit, got waved around to the tail end of the lead lap. Nemechek, Van Gisbergen, Gilliland, Dillon, Ty Dillon, and Cody Ware. Here we come to the Echo Park Automotive Restart Zone to complete lap 70.
It's a pretty good restart on old tires for Elliott on the bottom.
Except for the guys with new tires on top.
Well, that's a massive deficit there, especially on that non-preferred line on the bottom.
Yeah, right now, Kyle Larson, he's just much more comfortable moving his car around the racetrack. He raced on Saturday. You see him right up the top of the black with the groove moving up the racetrack, and now he's back on the bottom, knows that's the fastest way around. But those guys up front struggled to get their cars to turn, and he was able to carry that momentum around them.
But look at Blaney struggling to get down and get in line. And Bell, thank you guys. Continue to be the fastest on pit road. Put him up front in second place. He got him around a hard car to pass it. Blaney did it on pit road.
In yesterday's race, quite a bit of three-wide racing through the corners here as things sorted out. Chastain on the outside of Hurts. That's for sixth place.
Well, and you already see how much more racy this racetrack is on this restart right here, being able to use that high groove compared to how it was at the beginning of the races. You see,
that was tight.
Ross Chastain give the 35 of Riley Herbst a little shot up the racetrack, but not able to get to the bottom, and Chase Briscoe's able to get that position on him.
He hit him hard enough that it took him up the racetrack and opened the door up for Briscoe.
Yeah, and we've seen that one of Ross Chastain take off really good on all these restarts, but the last run he faded backwards, and I think right now it's just the aggression on the restarts that's keeping his track position that he has currently.
Larry Mack.
Yeah, I want to talk about the 21 car, Josh Berry, Miles Stanley as crew chief, Chase Elliott the 9, and Alec Gustafson. I think this is a great move. The laps are clicking off. We've got less than 50 to go in this stage. When that caution came out, Chase Elliott was running 21st. Josh Berry was running 25th. Even if they start to fade, I think this is still going to be a net gain.
I agree, but he did a good job. Put that in Josh Berry as well. He held up his end of the deal. He got a good jump and a good restart, put himself in position.
Keep an eye on that. There's only two cars a lap down. Cole Custer and William Byron. And Chad Fincham is 2 laps down. The other 34 cars are all on the lead lap here.
Yeah, and really where those, as you see in 3 wide back here.
Oh boy.
Pack.
Okay.
Ryan Priest, go up there in the Harry Gant groove.
Well, Logano tried to block him and keep him from it, but he just moved on up a little bit higher and went right around him.
Yeah, as we ride on board this Ford Racing Cam with Joey Logano, it looks to me like they're definitely off a little bit today. Had a great run at Martinsville. We saw that miserable week that he had the week before at Darlington. It looks like we're back struggling here at the beginning of this race.
Logano 25th right now. 16 seconds. 16:49 lap times. 9 seconds back of the leader. Your 7th place, Briscoe and Hocevar. Things have kind of settled out here for the moment. Austin Cindric had been part of that battle with Ross Chastain, who has dropped to 11th behind Bubba Wallace.
Well, we've seen Hocevar run really well here in the past at Bristol as we ride on board with Chase Briscoe. Looking back at Carson, running 8th, and I think as this race goes on, it's going to come down to all the things that we just saw. Don't make a mistake on pit road. Get good restarts. And I look at Josh Berry and Chase Elliott. There's obviously a track positional piece to this on the old tires that's going to change the way that these crew chiefs and engineers are thinking now.
And they all saw that.
Absolutely.
Too. Yeah, make note, guys.
The biggest thing I want to see, what do their tires look like at the end of the stage? Because that's going to be about 115 green flag laps.
And I think in the worst case scenario, Larry, at the beginning of this race, right, I think that wear, if they don't look great, probably going to get a little bit better as the day goes on. So if they make it, to the end of this stage, it's going to change the complexion of everything that we're thinking.
So the first 2 stages are each 125 laps. The final stage is twice as long.
38 laps to go in stage 1 already. Kyle Larson out to a 1.1 second lead. Josh Berry, who stayed out of the pits to keep track position, still in second. Again, that initial fire off on the fresh tires is where the drivers that did pit had the advantage. That first lap or two, Larson got to the lead quickly, obviously leading right now, but Berry settled in second. He's still holding off Christopher Bell and Ryan Blaney. Bell's 2.4 seconds out of the lead in third, right behind the 21 of Berry. Blaney 2.7 seconds back and forth. And Chase Elliott, who also stayed out of the pits, is 5th place, 4.2 seconds out of the lead. Riley Herbst 4.5 seconds back at 6th. 7th is Chase Briscoe, 5.1 back. Carson Hocevar in 8th place is 5.3 seconds out of the lead. Austin Cindric in 9th, 5.8 back. Rounding out the top 10, Bubba Wallace, 6.1 seconds out of the race lead. That's the top 10, and the intervals between them, 35 laps to go in stage 1, 90 laps complete. We're almost 100 laps down out of 500 today at Bristol. Take a look at our chat poll just to see who all voted for specific drivers to win today. In the Food City 500 at Bristol, Kyle Larson tied for the lead in our poll at 33% of 49 votes to win. He leads right now. Ryan Blaney, 29% of those votes, with the third most, is in fourth place after leading laps from the poll. Only 6% of you taking Denny Hamlin for the win, and 33% also taking somebody other than Hamlin, Larson, or Blaney for the victory. Now 34%, so other leading the chat poll over Larson, Blaney, and Hamlin. And we'll take another look at that in a little bit. Commercial break on Fox Sports 1 ongoing right now, as we are in the back portion of stage number 1 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Down to 32 laps left. Larson navigating his way through lap traffic. Remember, there were a lot of drivers who did take the wave around to get back on the lead lap. Some of those have gone a lap down again, like Cody Ware and Ty Dillon. Cole Custer, William Byron did not take the wave around. They're still one lap down. They just got to hope they don't go a second lap down. Good news is they got the restart in front of all the drivers who would have taken the wave around. So it gives them a little bit more of a buffer. Todd Gillen also just going a lap down now. Shane Van Gisbergen and Alex Bowman, the last two cars on the lead lap. Two Hendrick Motorsport cars 30th or worse, while the other two are in the top 5. What a split for HMS so far today. Biggest mover since the restart, which took place a little less than 30 laps ago. 5 spots gained for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 4 for Austin Dillon, middle of the pack, 7 for Tyler Reddick after he ended up having the pit road speeding penalty. He is up to 27th. Problem is for Reddick, he could also be a lap down with the pace that Larson's putting right now with 27 laps to go in the stage. He's the third to last car in the lead lap. Josh Berry finally starting to clip, I believe, with those tires after about 100 laps. So that's something to kind of monitor as we go forward in this race today. Chase Elliott's still in 5th, but Berry now to 4th after getting passed by both Bell and Blaney in the span of about a lap. One corner, the 20 car got by him. The 12 gets by him the next. Larson's lead over Bell is 2.5 seconds. The last lap, Bell a couple hundredths of a second faster than the 5 car. And that's probably going to go back and forth depending on where both drivers end up catching lap traffic between now and the end of this first stage, which will be lap 125. One caution for incident. That was Brad Keselowski with a spin right around lap 65. Four lead changes so far in this first stage. 8 laps of caution for that Brad Keselowski spin off the front bumper of Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Regan?
Well, like for the break, you guys were asking about tires and what these tires that came off these cars look like. The tires off of the 20 car of Christopher Bell, and I can tell you, as you look across these dots that measure the wear on them, these tires look absolutely perfect. You got the right front here, maybe just a little bit of wear on the inner edge of what should be the right rear right here. But if I'm a crew chief and I see this, I'm really happy with it. Some of the tires could look better than anything we've seen here in a long time.
Well, Bell has obviously, well, he's had a good weekend. First off, he won the truck race on Friday night. We know we've obviously seen him in victory lane here, but you know, the interesting part about where we're headed is still that bottom groove, right? Like we've seen the groove spread out, and we've seen everything happen so far. But when does that bottom groove start to give up grip so that the top becomes more dominant than what it is right now? It just hasn't got to that point yet.
William Byron just went a second lap down to his teammate Kyle Larson.
Wow.
Rough day for the 24. Well, let's get an update on the drivers who did not pit during the one and only caution so far. Jamie.
Josh Berry restarted second. Waiting for the driver to start in 20 minutes. Last race in Martinsville, he finished 10th, moved up 7 spots. The points, a lot of momentum on their side. Happy with their call. So far, the car is good. You're just telling them that the guys that took tires can wrap the bottom a little bit better than he can on old tires.
Martinsville, you mentioned, he had the biggest points gain of any driver in our last race. 9th place here, Denny Hamlin going around the outside.
Oh,
Chase Elliott.
goodness. Ross Chastain, he just rammed into the back of the 2-car right there with Austin Cindric. So I'm not sure if
About turned him into the wall.
if there's something that went on, or if he just hit him harder than he expected to.
Well, that's not the first contact today between those two.
You know, listen to Jamie's update on the 21. The 9 car, however, didn't get that good jump and established up front with clean air, and he's mired back here in traffic at the depths of the old tires, struggling a little bit more.
Yeah, he's out of the top 10 now.
Trying the outside on the number 1, going way up.
It seemed like 100 laps was that cliff point
Right
in the
next-
tires.
Gets in position to get the last stage point 12 laps from now.
Yeah, and unless Chase Elliott just has a big fade here in these last 11 laps,
Still a game.
still going to be a net gain.
That's right. And that's experience and wisdom. And Allen does that so well on top of the box for Chase Elliott, of knowing that, using his experience and making those gutsy calls. That's a hard call, because if it doesn't work, boy, you look bad. Confidence in your driver, knowing he'll hold his end of the deal up too.
Yeah, we saw Chase try to go back to the bottom that last lap, missed the bottom groove, and seems like right now that top groove is his best defense to be able to try to hang on to as many positions as possible.
Chris Buescher completes the pass of the 9. Daniel Suarez next.
See Ty Gibbs right there on the bottom of the racetrack trying to make up some of the ground that he has lost early in this race. Not sure how he got all the way back to 16th there, but definitely lost some spots as you see him trying to work under Zane Smith right here.
Well, when he took off, he had a really, really loose race car, and it still looks like it's out from underneath of it quite a bit. You know as well as I do, it's hard to keep a loose race car here underneath of you. It's especially hard when you're door to door and trying to hold it off
Oh,
the car,
boy.
or 3 wide.
And Gibbs is running right about where he restarted after the caution flag. Here's some radio on the 54. I'm sorry, this will be Tyler Reddick.
Brake shake. Again, horsepower. Avoid the power there, get a speaker from this.
Well, he's fallen all the way back to 26th, still on the lead lap. Kyle Busch right now is the last car on the lead lap with 4 laps to go in stage 1.
Yeah, and that 45 car and that 23 car have more problems with brake shakes than anybody I know, but hard to drive here at Bristol when you have that.
He's going to hold on to 4 to go on that lead lap, but it was close. Larson's right behind him.
Yeah, and that's really not something that you're fixing today.
No.
Once it gets in those rotors and into the brake pedal, you're pretty much stuck with that. You might be able to put some tape on there. Usually they're too cold.
Usually if they're too cold and running on the outside, you're going to use less brake, probably make it worse.
But a lot of times what happens is you see Denny Hamlin get loose right there. A lot of times what happens is that pad builds up on there from it being too cold and you can't get it off.
Hamlin's had a nice drive up to 7th. He's trying to take 6th from Hertz. As we come down to the last couple laps of the stage, and Kyle Busch trying to hang on to the tail end of the lead lap. Bumper tag up there in front of the leaders. They're 3 wide with everybody trying to hang on to this lead lap. 1 more lap.
You're right, Mike. Well, they were trying to wreck, holding on to that last of the lead lap.
So Kyle Larson gets his 8th stage win at Bristol and his first stage win of this season.
First stage win of the year for Kyle Larson, about 1.4 seconds out ahead of Christopher Bell. Bell cut into that deficit a little bit after taking second from Josh Berry, who had stayed out of the pits looking for track position. Good news for Berry. He gets stage points, finishing 5th in the stage, so he gets 6 points there. That was well worth the risk. And now he'll get to pit with everybody else now. So, great job, well done. Chase Elliott was 18th, I believe, before his pit stop, gained 2 spots. He's in 16th, so a 2-spot net gain for the 9. But that 21, I mean, they were running even behind where Chase Elliott was. And now they end up 5th, so decent pace in that Josh Berry Wood Brothers Ford Mustang. Best career finish for Berry here is 12th 2 different times in the 4 starts prior. He's yet to finish in the top 10. Maybe today will be the day for Berry, the 3rd-year driver now in the NASCAR Cup Series. 2nd with the Wood Brothers. Stage 1 results for the top 10 and the stage points going along with it. Kyle Larson 1st, Christopher Bell 2nd, Ryan Blaney 3rd, Chase Briscoe 4th, Josh Berry 5th, Denny Hamlin in 6th, 7th, Carson Hocevar, Riley Herbston 8th, Bubba Wallace 9th, Austin Cindric rounds out the top 10. 1 point per position. 10 points for first, all the way down to 1 point for last. Or 10th, I should say, specifically. Which will be last of the stage points. 55 votes have been casted for who you think is going to win today's race. 34% taking somebody other than Larson, Hamlin, or Blaney for the win. 30% have Larson, 29% Blaney, only 7% currently have Denny Hamlin. You have until the end of Stage 2 to vote for that. You also have until the end of Stage 2 to lock in your Fantasy League teams for this week. Time for our diecast show, and we're going to have 2 of them because I did not have any in the second to last Cup race that we would have done. I was not here. Well, actually, I was here for Martinsville. I was not here the race before that, and then the race before that, there was the 2 races I missed. So, 2 diecast showings for today's stream. Both former Bristol winners. Here's a classic and a car and a paint scheme that won a Bristol night race. In fact, back in the mid-90s, this is Terry Labonte, Texas Terry, the Iceman, and a classic Kellogg Cornflakes race car. And actually, Kyle Larson, coincidentally, won Stage 1, ran a throwback to the scheme in recent years, and it was fantastic. And this is honestly one of my favorite paint schemes from the 90s in NASCAR. Very clean. It looks old school, just the way the font is on the 5. And when I think Hendrick Motorsports of the 90s, you think Rainbow Warriors, and this is probably a close second, honestly, for me. Kellogg's Cornflakes, Terry Labonte, number 5. So that is our first of 2 diecast showings for today's stream. We will have the other Bristol race winner at the end of Stage 2.
It deserves, because there's so much different, diverse racing in America, I think, compared to Europe, that in my mind, it would have to develop, a driver that's just as good or potentially better than any other part of the world.
Speed is back. It's an all-new Fox Sports digital show with Harvick and Buxton, fueled by Poet. Subscribe to Speed on Fox, on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Stage 1 in the books, Larson Bell 1-2. To nobody's surprise, Larson won here last spring. Bell won here in the fall race. Bell won the truck race on Friday night. Larson was the runner-up yesterday. They are the favorites. And they locked it up at Stage 1 ahead of Blaney, Briscoe, and Berry. Josh Berry, who didn't stop during the one and only caution flag, was rewarded with a 5th place finish for his Wood Brothers Ford. Pit road's open, Josh.
Well, for Kyle Larson, your Stage 1 winner, said he felt good overall about the car. Said it was a little stiff when he was running up top. Nothing he can't manage will be 4 tires and fuel. Jamie?
And a great strategy call for Josh Berry. It came on the radio and said, great job hanging in there on those older tires. Says he's not bad, just a little bit loose off and a little loose into the corner as well. 4 tires, air pressure adjustment for the 21. Regan.
For Christopher Bell, everything's still continuing to go well for that car. That run, really good from the center off the corner. Needed some stability from the center, or from entry to the center of the corner. And keep an eye on the 8 car as he exits a pit box here. Could be very tight with that car. And the 12 Orion Lady waiting for landing that run and tighter in the center.
Larson and Bell win the race off pit road. Briscoe and Denny Hamlin. Some sad news to pass along. Joe Gibbs racing engineer Matt Faulkner's son Jonas passed away peacefully in his sleep on Easter morning, ending a lifelong battle with epilepsy. Despite his health challenges, Jonas shared his passion for all things racing, go-karts, Mario Brothers, and basketball with everyone he met. Jonas Faulkner was 16.
Eesh. Tough news to hear there as they go to commercial break during stage one. Race off pit road won by Kyle Larson again. And he will be the leader after winning stage one and leading the most laps in this race so far. 125 laps complete. 45 laps led today for Ryan Blaney, 81 for Larson. Bell led 1 lap in the pits. Chase Elliott led 6 laps last restart. And the caution laps, obviously, that kind of led into that said restart when he had stayed out of the pits entirely. So just the 1 caution so far today. So I don't know. I felt like I just had a deja vu moment for some reason. Get this. Now, if this happens in the race, this is going to be wild. But I feel like I had a dream recently that I was at Bristol, right? My guy Ryan Blaney was leading, and he was battling with Kyle Larson. Larson got into him, and Blaney ended up wrecking. If that happens today, it's going to be wild. I don't know why I remember seeing that. I figured I'd throw it out there. I feel like because I threw it out to the universe now, it's not going to happen. As a Blaney fan, I hope so. Hope that that's the case. Emogene Blevins, Austin Sullivan, thanks for tuning in, ladies and gents. Just over 130 people concurrently watching. And at 52 likes on the stream, our like goal is to get to 150 for the Cup Series race stream. So be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. We're about a third of the way to our goal, and we're almost a third of the way through the race already. 47 minutes in. 2 cautions, 1 for incident, 6 lead changes. 16 laps under yellow. Many more under green thus far. Decent ways to go as we're 134 laps in out of 500. Get the bad juju away. You know what? I hope so. Christopher Bell speeding on pit road. Well, if that's the case, he's going to be going to the back and tail end of the lead lap there. No wave arounds for those drivers who would have taken the wave around earlier in the race today. Free pass went to Connor Zilic for the second time, by the way. He got the free pass with the first caution and then the stage yellow. So 28th place for Connor Zilic. He's back on the lead lap. Bell was speeding on pit road.
For speeding penalties on this stop, and one of them is the second place car, Christopher Bell, along with John Hunter Nemechek. Bell
Nemechek and McDowell also.
Section 10, and Michael McDowell in section 11. Zane Smith called for equipment interference on his stop. That is Bell's first speeding penalty of the season and his first ever here. Connor Zilic gets the free pass and gets back on the lead lap. So 28 cars on the lead lap for this restart. Denny Hamlin will line up alongside Kyle Larson as they approach the Echo Park Automotive restart zone. The Chevy Corvette pace car ducks for cover.
Ready.
Hamlin looks tight.
Well, we haven't mentioned Denny Hamlin's name many times today, but there he is. Shows up at the front of that restart right there. Chase Briscoe able to get around him, and Josh Berry now on equal tires with everybody. So that strategy really paid off for that 21 car.
Go back to Denny Hamlin, though. +4 for his pit crew on pit road. Them Gibbs boys have been putting a show on them, getting them tires on fast.
Got 2 big attaboys for stage 1. Miles Stanley of the Wood Brothers team That strategy that's put Barry into the top 5.
Oh,
And Riley Herbst, who had a great qualifying run. He
contact between the 11 and 21.
Top 7 all day.
Yeah, he's done a nice job today. Qualified well. And really, a lot of times that's half the battle, right? Putting yourself up at the front of these fields and being able to get that track position. But as we've gone through these pit stops, his team's done a nice job on pit road. And he's doing a nice job on the racetrack to keep himself at the front of this field. Close of our underneath Blaney right there.
Gets so narrow off the exit of the corners, especially on the restarts when everything is already bunched together. Though then again, when is it not bunched together here at Bristol? It is a half-mile bull ring. Blaney and Hocevar side-by-side battle for 5th, with Blaney on the outside of the 77, rolling the top pretty well. I spoke too soon. He chattered the front tires that time going through 1 and 2. He's still side-by-side with the 77, but Hocevar actually had his nose out in front of the 12 car, headed into turn 3, and clears him off 4. A slight bobble, not enough to really take over. We haven't seen the outside come in quite as well as I would have thought. Oh, Christopher Bell has problems. He's around. I wonder if he's got a broken toe. Like, it looks like he's made contact. I don't know with the wall or another car, but problems for Bell, cautions out.
Man, this is just how this goes. When you have that mistake, get to the back of the pack, and
Unravels fast.
unravels really quickly. Oh, he just got loose right there, Clint.
When he got on the gas, car come around, dropping a wall, and
Third caution flag of the day flies for Christopher Bell's spin down in turns 1 and 2 after contact with the wall.
How did I get here? Shooting.
Wow. Speeding penalty for Christopher Bell in the back of the pack, and then getting loose up out of turn 2, maybe trying just a little bit too hard to get as much track position as he could back quickly after what he had recently lost. Up against the wall in turn 2, and then a spin down in 3 and 4, and I don't know if he was trying to get to the pits and then had spun out, or if maybe the toe link might have been broken on the right rear of the 20 because of the contact with the wall out of turn 2. We'll keep an eye on Christopher Bell with that spin. He is still on the lead lap for now, I do believe. Yeah, for right now, he's on the lead lap. We'll monitor. Third caution of the day, first for incident early in stage 2 at least. The one in the middle of stage 1. Kyle Larson still the race leader. Chase Briscoe second. Josh Berry third after that restart. Denny Hamlin, who was on the inside of row 1, fell back to 4th. Carson Hocevar did win the battle on Ryan Blaney for 5th, and Blaney is 6th. Bubba Wallace 7th. Austin Cindric in 8th. Ross Chastain 9th. Riley Herbst still in the top 10. Ty Gibbs 11th, and Joey Logano in 12th. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC. Full flag-to-flag coverage of today's Food City 500 at Bristol continues. $67 votes for who you think is going to win today's race in our chat poll. Larson, Briscoe, Berry, top 3. Hamlin, P4. Didn't really see Hamlin all of stage 1. Probably part of the reason he only has 7% of the votes for who's going to win in the chat poll. Christopher Bell's on my fantasy team. I might have to think about getting him out of there. Ty Gibbs is not having as good of a day, though, as I thought he could have. I've got options for the fantasy team. Gonna have to figure out who I'm gonna take out between the two of them. Gibbs didn't get any stage points in stage 1, and Bell had 9 of them, finishing second in stage 2. Kind of hard to go away from him, I feel. Could be back up there later. This car is definitely quicker than the 54. I guess it's just going to depend on how long Bell's going to be on pit road for repairs. Right now, he's actually fallen a couple laps down. It looks like he did have a toe leg break causing that spin.
See him on the right top of your screen. As soon as he jumps in the gas, the car comes around, chases it up the hill. Bam!
And
Right into that right rear wheel.
hard part right about there is there you see the light spots in the racetrack. There's bumps right there. He was loose just before those, and you saw the car kind of bounce around through those bumps and pitch it in a direction that he couldn't save.
So the only cars that made pit stops were cars that took the wave around on the last caution flag, get them caught back up in the same tire cycle with the cars on the lead lap. Christopher Bell entered with a 6-race top 10 streak here. Josh?
Was a little concerned for the one team of Ross Chastain during that caution. They were reporting some low battery voltage numbers. They were concerned, tried to cycle the power back. They seem to feel better about it right now, but we're going to keep an eye on the one and let you know how this plays out, guys.
I think that big fish's name on the left side behind the one is Clinton.
Hey, is that because his mouth is big?
Let me just it is outside. I'm ready to win.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful day for it.
Heck yeah.
Perfect.
I love Mike Droid picking on Boyer just as much as Harvick is, man.
You just said it.
And it's not over yet. And as far as the cars that beat themselves, but right now, Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, all these guys that have had these little issues, those are things that when it's this hard to pass and so close from a competition standpoint, you can't beat yourself.
Todd Gilliland got the free pass. Chase Briscoe was the second place car, but he chose the high line behind Kyle Larson.
All right, green flag back in the air. Larson with the restart, getting the nose out ahead of Josh Berry. More than the nose now in turns 1 and 2. He's all the way clear up out of turn 2. Like kind of almost went to the outside of 3 wide of both the Monster Energy Toyotas of Gibbs and Herbst. Lifted up out of the exit of turn 2, realizing that wasn't going to work, and he was running out of space fast. Briscoe, quick work of Josh Berry for second after being in second when the caution came out. Choosing to restart on the outside of row 2 is going to work out for him. He's got about a 3-car length distance to the back bumper of the 5 car of Larson leading the way. Briscoe had some good runs on the concrete ovals last season between Bristol and Dover on the shorter of the concrete ovals. And thought he could have a good run today based off of how he qualified yesterday and little tire fall off. And sure enough, Briscoe's having a solid day. Ended up with 6th place stage points in stage 1, and now he's up to P2. Blaney trying to work himself back into the top 5 around Denny Hamlin, who seems to be struggling. I noticed Hamlin looked a little tight on the exit of the corner. That restart, he was on the inside of row 1. He's getting passed by cars on the outside. It looked like he just was struggling up off the exit of the corner to get the car to turn. And he just can't get back into the gas quite as soon as a lot of others around him, even those that are trying to run the bottom as well. Not just because he's getting pinched off on the outside. A couple times, though, I've seen Ryan Blaney go to the top and slip up the racetrack. It's been easy to do, and I think a lot of drivers have really done that, which is why it's been a mostly bottom feeder racetrack today at Bristol. The groove is widening out. You'll see in lap traffic kind of going top or bottom just to get by lap cars as quick as possible, but it's not a preferred line by any means to run that middle to upper lane of the racetrack. There's been some people venturing up there, but not on a consistent enough basis where the track has gotten rubbered in. Higher horsepower with these next-gen cars, maybe causing a little bit of a hiccup in trying to run the outside consistently, potentially. We've ran, obviously, 750 horsepower here before with prior generations of car, but not the next gen. The balance is going to be different. Oh, big crash. Van Gisbergen and Nemechek, Bowman, and Gillen involved. Cautions out again.
And Todd Gilliland scoots away. Cody Ware was near it, but I don't think he was in it. That'll put us under caution for the fourth time today at lap 160.
You see that left front right there? Broken on Alex Bowman's car.
I think he's done for the day.
Yeah, it looks like he's broken in every corner there. All four wheels look to have had contact.
I don't think it was his doing either. Started in front of him.
So Van Gisbergen will be the first car that ended up involved. He's way on the left corner of the screen.
And watch him. Starts right in front of this pack, gets sideways, getting into the corner.
Oh.
They start checking up to try to avoid him and got collected. Alex Bowman nowhere to go, right in his lap. Just came right out from underneath of him, didn't he, Kev?
And we saw the same thing out of Christopher Bell's car. And, you know, when we heard the drivers, see Bell go by right there, heard the drivers talking about what they felt. And they're just talking about the cars being light on their feet now that traction compound is starting to wear out. You see that with Shane's car, just slides right out from underneath it. Very similar, just a different spot to the 20 car Christopher Bell spin.
Track narrows up quickly when one car gets completely sideways, doesn't it? Caution flag number 4 when Shane Van Gisbergen spins, collecting 3 others in turn 4.
All right, caution out for the fourth time today. A couple of early incidents in stage 2 so far. We have not had a green flag run quite as long as like we had with 2 of them in the first 125 laps. Mark Hill, welcome to the stream. 30 on Larson to win 103. Well, hey, it's off to a good start today. He was my pick to win today's race, too. Larson looking pretty good out there. Still a long ways to go here today. Got 71 votes now in the chat poll. Our goal to get to 50 likes on the stream as well. Fresh in the page, we are up to 63. So be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. We got double that many people watching right now. Concurrently, greatly appreciate you all tuning back in for another Sunday edition of NASCAR Cup Series action. Live every NASCAR race weekend across Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup Series races, as well as Cup practice and qualifying. Got coverage all weekend, every weekend. We'll be back at it again next week at Kansas. Truck Series is going to be off for the next 3 weeks. So it'll be just O'Reilly and Cup Series racing over the next few weeks between Kansas and Talladega. Well, actually, we'll be live for the ARCA race at Talladega also. Just throwing that out there. But next week, just O'Reilly and Cup Series racing, as well as Cup practice and qualifying beginning on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern with Cup practice and qualifying, 7 p.m. Eastern with the O'Reilly Series race at Kansas, and I believe a 2:30 start time again next week at Kansas for the Cup Series. Let me check on that just to make sure. Actually, no, earlier. 1:30 start time will be live next week at Kansas. Central Time Zone, that race is going to be starting at 1 local pretty early. And that race will be on your local Fox affiliate again next week. So Fox Sports won the last few Cup Series races, the last 5 if you count today. But they'll be back on your local Fox affiliate for the next 2 weeks, Kansas and Talladega. Only 5 races left on Fox already this season. That's insane. This year is flying by.
3 p.m. Eastern on FS1 and 7 p.m. Eastern on the CW. On-track action continues on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
Here at Bristol, 164 laps complete. Couple extra caution laps here as they've sent the track sweeper out. We've got some of the marbles. They didn't get that one, but that's okay. That's just harmlessly down.
It's just a chunk of rubber. It's fine.
Yeah. Free pass to Ty Dillon. Behind the wall is Shane Van Gisbergen. Still on pit road, John Hunter Nemechek and Alex Bowman. Jamie.
Yeah, you see that work continuing there, and just want to update Denny Hamlin talked to them this morning, and they said with this new package, this new tire, it makes these cars harder to drive. But they were fully confident that Denny can adapt. Well, he's doing his job. They're adjusting well on this car as well. 2 runs ago, he came on the radio and said the back end was just out of the track. But after one cycle on these tires, the car is coming to him, and he said he's turning better. So things going in the right direction. And you guys noted in the booth how well his pit crew is getting it done. Up 3 spots on that last stop.
Thanks, Jamie. We will restart with 29 lead lap cars. Easiest way to get them, isn't it, Kevin?
Yeah, there is nothing better than those guys on pit road being locked in and gaining those positions.
4 cars a lap are laps down. Nemechek and Bowman on pit road. Van Gisbergen behind the wall. And Chad Fincham. Here's Eric Jones, our Advent Health Cam, on board his number 43. Having a solid run. He is in 19th for Legacy Motor Club, which this week announced they had added Darius Rucker as an investor and partner in Jimmy Johnson's group. So we welcome him. And we get set for the choose.
Well, you see the same thing right there. Briscoe decided to go right behind Larson, gave up a couple spots to get that outside position. These used tire restarts are always a little bit different than the new tire restarts. So it'll be interesting to see how those guys can fire off. It's just so difficult to fire off on that bottom lane on older tires, and the bottom lane just doesn't fire off as good anyway. But Josh Berry happy to take that front row. A lot of guys believe that if the front row is open, they take it.
Bowman has left pit road. That just leaves Nemechek in the pit lane and Van Gisbergen behind the wall. Everybody else is on track as we get set for this restart. Larson outside of Berry. Briscoe outside Hocevar.
All right, here we go again. Green flag back in the air. Larson and Berry front row, just as we were on the last restart. Larson on the outside, Berry down low, and Briscoe for the second straight restart outside of row 2 after being in second place. 21 car, going to try to make it a little tougher for the 19 to make this pass, but Briscoe rolling the top well, pinching Berry off on corner exit, getting the drive. And he is going to be clear in the middle of 1 and 2 on the second lap following the restart. Hamlin drops back another spot or 2 to Hocevar and now Bubba Wallace. Ryan Blaney around the outside going to get by the 11 as well. Fire off speed not looking great. Blaney just narrowly sneaking to the outside of Wallace. He really stuffed his nose in there. Barely able to get to the top. Bubba gives him a little bit more room now on the back straightaway as Blaney continues to try to roll that top lane of the racetrack and rounding it better, getting the good speed down the straightaways, the transition from this steep banking on both ends of the racetrack to how flat both straightaways are on each end. Problem is for Blaney is Carson Hocevar moved up to the top right in front of him for a corner and kind of backed that 12 car up again. It was looking like he was going to be close to clearing the 23 and gave Wallace another shot to get right back underneath him. And Blaney has slid those front tires a couple times trying to run the top, so if he doesn't get clear quickly, could be in danger of slipping at some point in time. And that 23 could be right there for the taking, but not going to happen. It looks like Blaney will get clear of Bubba, move back down to the inside. Josh Berry trying to move up a lane to the outside and maybe get by Briscoe. Seems to be holding him up on this run where he wasn't on the last short green flag run before that 4-car crash that took place between Shane Van Gisbergen, John Hunter Nemechek, Alex Bowman, and Todd Gilliland. Gilliland still remains on the lead lap. Alex Bowman was on pit road for significant repairs, got to the restart, then pulled back into the pits again. He's now 12 laps down in 34th. Nemechek and SVG out of the race following the crash. So several cars off of the lead lap that would have been on the lead lap had that wreck not happened. 29 cars in total still on the lead lap in this race. Some bigger names that are a lap down include William Byron, who went 2 laps down on speed in stage 1, and Christopher Bell, who's 5 laps down after having a spin early in stage 2, a toe leg break, had to change that under caution. He is back on the racetrack, but again, 5 laps down for Christopher Bell. Every point matters. It's worth getting him back out there and still trying to compete. 4 laps down for Bell, not 5. My mistake on that. It's still not great. Blaney powers past Carson Hocevar on the outside and rolling the top well when having to make those passes. So is his Penske teammate, Joey Logano, who rides that same line to get by Denny Hamlin and Bubba Wallace in recent laps. Ryan Blaney just set the fastest lap of the race, or actually, never mind, he has had the fastest lap of the race, lap 7, with a 15.554. It's just the first I noticed that graphic on the Fox leaderboard. But yeah, so far so good for Team 12. Getting back into it after losing several positions on pit road. He was 3rd at the end of stage 1 and then restarted 7th. Back up to 4th. Top 10 in the running order at lap 183 out of 500 and lap 57 of 125 in stage 2 as Kyle Larson with a half a second advantage over Chase Briscoe. 9/10 of a second advantage to Josh Berry in 3rd. Ryan Blaney 1.3 back in 4th. 1.6 back for Carson Hocevar in 5th. Joey Logano 2.2 seconds off the lead in 6th. Bubba Wallace 2.5 back in 7th. Denny Hamlin in 8th, 2.8 back. Austin Cindric in 9th place, 3.1 seconds out of the lead. And Ty Gibbs back in the top 10. He's 3.1 seconds out of the lead as well. 10th place for Gibbs and now looking to make a pass on Cindric for 9th, meanwhile, as of going through that top 10 on the leaderboard. But not going to complete the pass. Trying an over-under move. Went to the outside one corner, back down to the bottom, and Cindric to the top the next. Yeah, can't clear him there either. I think the 3 best cars in the race today were Larson, then Bell, then Blaney. The problem is Bell is now 4 laps down with that spin and the toe link break. It's going to be tough to beat the 5 and the 12 today. Still going to have at least a couple more pit stops and a chance to make more adjustments for drivers that are in the top 5 to get closer or maybe even surpass the speed side of things. Other drivers, the track's going to continue to go through changes as well, considering that middle to upper groove hasn't completely come in like we'll probably see it by the end of this one, as we're only still a little less than 200 laps complete. And that alone will change things up. Halfway through stage 2. Here today at Bristol. Chase Elliott back in traffic a bit. 11th place after finishing 16th in stage 1. Led some laps on an alternate pit strategy in that first stage, but trying to get back up there. Didn't get any stage points out of it. Fell out of the top 10 a little bit too quickly. It seemed like that cliff point for both Berry and Elliott was about 100 laps on their tires. Not going to have to deal with that really in stage 2 at all with the few cautions we've already seen. It's going to be right around that many laps to get to the end of the stage anyway. But if we do get a long green flag run to begin stage 3, I think we look for about lap 100. Might see some drivers try to short pit. Bell out there running, it's going to be tough for him to get any laps back. He can take a wave around maybe here and there throughout the race, but you're 4 laps down. Be lucky just to get 1 or 2 of those laps back. Blaney made very quick work of Josh Berry a few laps ago. That was off camera. Now he's battling Briscoe for 2nd. Sneaking to the inside through turns 1 and 2. First corner he catches him. He'll make the pass clear, and Ryan Blaney in that 12th car maybe made the right adjustments to try to help him on the long run speed. Larson had him beat once they got about 30 laps into that first stint when we started the race today. And Blaney was able to keep up through lap traffic, but you could tell when there was open room to run for both cars, the 5 was straight up quicker. Blaney has been quick to kind of venture to that outside lane of the racetrack, and now that he's fully clear of Briscoe, we'll have to watch the lap times back and forth between the 5 and 12. Right now, the gap between the 2 cars is about 1.8 seconds. And that's still with about 55 laps to go yet in stage 2. Larson hasn't caught up to the back of the lap traffic, or at least the vast majority of it yet.
Closing in on 200 laps at Bristol. Aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear. Legends aren't born, they are proven. Kyle Larson, the leader, has 1.6 seconds on Ryan Blaney. Blaney lost 4 spots on pit road at the end of stage 1. 54 laps later, he's right back up into second place. Regan?
Well, like that 12 car, Ryan Blaney clicking off some really good lap times right now. They've been struggling to find the balance between the bottom of the track and the top of the track. They've been too tight through the middle on the bottom, too loose through the top though, and now with the adjustments they've made, really zoned in on it. He's been pretty happy with the car this entire run.
He should be. The 5 car is getting bigger in the windshield.
Yeah, and it's going to be harder for the 5 car right now because he's caught, some more lap traffic, and Blaney's got pretty clean track in front of him. So car in between those two is William Byron, though. Man, what a struggle it has been today for that 24.
You don't see that out of that car. I don't know that I've ever seen it. Just
Not this bad.
miss
Not this
over the
bad.
weekend.
It's like Logano a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and we saw this at a Joey Logano, and when we first went to this car, people would ask me, "Man, what happened last weekend?" And it's so hard to explain to people what a knife edge this car is to get to handle correctly, and if you miss it by just a little bit, you can wind up with a day like William Byron's having 3 laps down.
Now, it's taken Denny a while to get past Bubba Wallace. He tracked him, ran his line, ran a different line, and finally found a way by on the inside. For 7th place there.
And you see Ty Gibbs now underneath Bubba Wallace. It seems like this 54 car, as the runs go on, and he got done with that little dance with the 2 car Boston Cindric back there, back and forth with front bumper and back bumper. He's been able to move his way forward.
That was more of an altercation than a dance.
Yeah.
For about 25 laps.
Well, usually an altercation ends in somebody on the floor, Clint.
Let's go up and check in on 3rd place. Regan.
Chase Briscoe running in 3rd, Mike. Has been struggling with the car throughout the course of the day, and even though he's been running in the top 5, complaining about overall grip level being on top of the racetrack and very slippery. Latest update from the driver after he lost 2nd place about 5 laps ago was it lost all grip at one point right there. So something to keep an eye on with the 19 car. Also, crew chief James Small said we can't get loose in. If we get loose in, that's really bad for us.
Thanks, Regan. Now, Noah Greg's in 12th place right now, under fire from Tyler Reddick, but Noah said in practice he was putting in lots of sim time, trying to improve his performance. They've had a good day. We started 11th, running 12th right now.
Yeah, they need a good day, and you heard Noah talk about it pre-race qualifying show. They just need something good to happen. They've had a tough year and a half, and need to get the ship righted with good performance on the racetrack. Having it today.
Denny Hamlin closing on Joey Logano, and that'll be for 6th place.
Yeah, and it's so Bristol.
And Brad Keselowski. Brad was spun by Ricky Stenhouse back at lap 62. He's fought his way back up into the top 15, right behind his teammate there, Chris Buescher.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting ready to say. It's just so Bristol as you get to this closer to the second half of this race, and you hear guys starting to talk about lost all grip all of a sudden. And then all of a sudden you see new guys start to come to the front with their cars that are handling good. The guys that have been going good go to the back or to the middle of the pack and start struggling with their cars. So this racetrack can be so finicky when you get all this rubber on the track and you have the traction compound around the bottom of the racetrack.
Let me tell you somebody that's impressing me is this guy right here. Carson Hocevar running 4th, started 10th, just running a really good race right now. Right where you need to be, minding his own business, not a car around him, just logging laps. Very good job so far for the 77.
He got a lot of laps here Friday night. He was one of 7 full-time Cup drivers to run the truck race Friday night. And that was a record. That was the most Cup drivers ever to compete in the Craftsman Truck Series race.
That kid's the real deal. I believe in him.
As you're on board with Chase Briscoe right here, I mean, he's had a quiet day too, but Guy up front right there, Kyle Larson. He's been the car to beat all day, as we've seen several times here at Bristol in the past.
Larson starting to get into some heavy race traffic right now. 27 cars on the lead lap. Found that.
Nearing halfway at Bristol, lap 218 of 500 so far today. 1 hour, 20 minutes into the race, 4 cautions, 6 lead changes, and 33 laps spent under yellow out of the 218. Kyle Larson leads by about a half a second over Ryan Blaney, who's fastly charging on him. Larson won stage 1 of this one and has led the most laps so far here today. Larson has led for 164, Blaney for 45. Larson started the day in 8th, Blaney first. Chase Briscoe started 3rd, runs in 3rd right now. Then you got Carson Hocevar at 4th, Josh Berry 5th, and Denny Hamlin rounding out 6th place. 7th is Joey Logano, Ty Gibbs in 8th, Bubba Wallace 9th, and Austin Cindric 10th, with Chase Elliott in 11th, Noah Gragson 12th, Tyler Reddick 13th, Chris Buescher 14th, and Brad Keselowski 15th. Ryan Preece in 16th, Ross Chastain 17th, Todd Gillen 18th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 19th, and AJ Allmendinger is 20th. 21st is Eric Jones, Kyle Busch 22nd, Michael McDowell 23rd, Austin Dillon 24th, and 25th is Daniel Suarez. 26th, last car in the lead lap, Riley Herbst. First car lap down, and 27th is Zane Smith. Then Ty Dillon 28th, Connor Zilic 29th, and Cody Ware 30th. 31st, Cole Custer, William Byron 32nd, Christopher Bell 33rd, Alex Bowman 34th, John Hunter Nemechek 35th, Shane Van Gisbergen 36th, and Chad Fincham 37th. 4 cars out of the race so far here this afternoon. If you're listening to live commentary coverage of today's race, we're down to 29 laps to go in stage 1. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC to our full coverage. Nearing halfway to our goal for likes on the stream today as well. Our goal is 150. We got more than that many people concurrently watching, but only 74 likes. So be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet for more NASCAR coverage like this every NASCAR race weekend. Next NASCAR Cup race at Kansas Speedway next Sunday. We'll be live at 1:30 p.m. Eastern for our pre-race of that event.
Here's winners here. But Bell got against the wall and spun and lost 4 laps making repair.
You see Kyle Larson get loose right there, Mike?
With Ryan Blaney right up on it. That's for the lead. Daniel Suarez just ahead.
I heard you say, did you see Kyle Larson get loose? And I heard him say Ryan Blaney right on him.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And there's just so many of these cars that are
Needing an adjustment out of the 5 is where I'm getting at.
Yeah. And we saw Ryan Blaney drive right up to him, and you see what Kyle Larson is fighting right now, which is what we saw in practice. His car is loose and up on top of the racetrack, and
you told me how important it's going to be to keep up with this racetrack, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing.
4th place at the bottom of your screen. Denny Hamlin moving past Hocevar. Still a ways to go in stage 2, 21 more.
well, we've got 271 laps to go in this race, and it's not going to be the
77 went way up the racetrack.
As I look out the window right here, and these cars are on the back straightaway, you're starting to see that shadow creep in onto the racetrack. So as that shadow gets further and further over the racetrack, this track will start to change a tremendous amount. We saw it yesterday in practice as we went from the first practice to the second practice and then into qualifying, but that track temperature will go way down. Jamie?
Alex Bowman has been checked and released, making a return to the track after missing 4 races. How did you feel mentally, physically when you were in the car?
Yeah, I was fine. Just, frustrating day. Really struggled with our Ally 48 Chevy. Thought we were okay in practice, and then obviously qualified bad, and then just really struggled with the handling today. So, bummer. Hate that we didn't get a chance to work on it, make it better, and finish the race. But
kind of outside of our control. When you run that bad, stuff can happen, and it happened to us. So move on to Kansas. Another should be good racetrack for us. This one should have been too, but it's the way it works out sometimes. We'll go and try again next week.
Glad to see you're back.
Thanks.
Denny Hamlin, fastest car on the racetrack, going after Chase Briscoe here for third place.
Yeah, well, we're seeing cars that like Denny Hamlin's come and go, right? Denny Hamlin, he was 3 or 4 spots back. I don't know how many laps ago, but now I mean, he's steadily just worked his way forward over this last period of the race.
He and Josh Berry, 16-16 on the last lap. That's a 10th faster than leader Kyle Larson.
To your point, looking back through the field, watching these cars and watching the leaderboard, this is another one, Kevin. It's really come on strong and holding strong on a long run. The 6-car Keselowski.
Well, we talk about it every week. The weakness for this car is qualifying. Brad knows his way around. They always seem to have great race pace, but it takes them all day to get themselves in a position to be in a spot to where they contend in the top 10, but they spend the first 2 stages getting there.
He's a 1/10.5 to 2/10 faster than most of the 4 or 5 cars in front of him. Larry, what do you got?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk on a lot of different radios about Denny Hamlin this 11 car because he was one of the first ones a number of laps ago to really move to the top in 1 and 2. And they've been saying, if you're going to run the top, you got to get in the top. You can't be down in the middle. You got to be up in that black. That's what Denny's been doing.
All right, Kyle Larson, he's got a battle on his hand right here. He's trying to lap Austin Dillon and Michael McDowell, and neither one are going to go quietly this close to the end of the stage. And by the way, he's got Blaney right up his bumper.
Yeah, you've got 10 laps left in this stage, so you want to do everything that you can to not be the lucky dog, because when you're the lucky dog, you line up at the tail end of everybody, and so it puts you vulnerable to be a lap down. So if you can keep yourself on this lead lap, you can line up in front of the lap cars, you can line up in front of all the penalty cars, give yourself a better chance of not going a lap down again.
There's some guys begging for this stage to be over with.
Yeah.
They are really slipping, sliding around.
Austin Dillon, Michael McDowell, Kyle Busch, and Ricky Stenhouse are the cars just in front of the leader trying to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, and you see Austin Dillon up the racetrack right there. That was a great corner for him. But you heard the spotters talking about moving up the racetrack high enough to be at the top of that black, which is where you want to be, especially through 1 and 2. The bumps get smoother through the middle of the corner. You go around the bump on the exit of the corner. So a lot of times you got to get high enough to go around those bumps on that end of the track.
All right, business is picked up. That white and green number 7, Daniel Suarez, he's trying to get his lap back from Kyle Larson.
Yeah, 7-car came
And
alive.
that's the difference on those laps, right? He didn't pit. Green Glass pitted on 147, whereas everybody else is 131. That's the difference, right?
Oh,
Still got some goodie in those tires.
And I think he's just found somewhere that works for him on the racetrack. We know that we're going to keep going through these swings as the rubber gets laid down higher and bigger.
You can sell all you want. That's the first car I've seen drive by that 5.
Well, he's got to fight hard for 4 more laps, trying to get back on the lead lap before the caution waves for the end of stage 2. Side by side again into 1.
that was tight. Again.
And Larson emerges ahead of Suarez, who shoves it into turn 3 right alongside again.
Yeah, you see Ryan Blaney right there at the top side of this screen.
And Kyle Busch fading. Busch is now the last car on the lead lap in the number 8. Ian Dillon, his teammate, side by side, and the leader right behind them.
And you see both those cars are the 23rd and 24th. So
1 lap to go in stage 2.
Blaney's there, but he's got nowhere to go. He's boxed in.
Working hard trying to get around that leader.
yeah, and not only the other guy that's rooting for him is right behind him, Riley Herbst. He wants to see Suarez beat him.
Green and white checker flag. Kyle Larson wins the stage. Daniel Suarez gets back on the lead lap. So mission accomplished for all those drivers as we're fighting hard to stay on the tail end of the lead lap as Larson picks up stage 2.
Like a relentless lead,
All right, so Kyle Busch is going to go on, or not Kyle Busch, sorry, Kyle Larson goes on to win stage number 2, just as he did stage 1, but heavy pressure from Ryan Blaney, much more so in stage 2 than the first stage of the race. Larson's led an even 200 laps out of 250 so far this afternoon. Ryan Blaney second to that of Larson, then Denny Hamlin third, Carson Hocevar fourth, and Chase Briscoe in fifth. Josh Berry 6th, Ty Gibbs 7th, Joey Logano 8th, Bubba Wallace 9th, and Austin Cindric rounds out the top 10. Our 3 drivers in the chat poll are all 3 of the top 3 positions at the end of stage number 2. We're going to close our chat poll off now. Looks like 91 votes were casted for who you think is going to win the Food City 500 today. 37% taking somebody other than the top 3 at the end of stage 2. Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, and Denny Hamlin. 30% of you taking Larson. 27% with Blaney and 6% having Denny Hamlin. It was a pretty tight poll between those top 3 voting options. Sarah Gutierrez, Bill Liezo, thanks for tuning in. Lieza, sorry. #1 fan of Ryan Blaney now. There you go. He's looking good. Looking good today. Really all season. I mean, I guess he's second in points for a reason. If he wins this race today with finishing with third and second in the first 2 stages, he's going to cut into Reddick's points gap by quite a bit. Tyler Reddick was 6th at the end of stage 1, but then had the speeding penalty. He did not get any stage points in stage 2. So, stage points, Blaney to Reddick. Do my math correctly here, I believe it would have been 17 to 6. No, 17 to 5 in the stages. So Ryan Blaney was 82 points back coming into the day. He gains 12 in the stages alone. And now he's still 10 positions ahead of him. But it's an extra 15-point swing between first and second place. This could be a big win. Brody Stanfield, thanks for tuning in. I'll do the diecast showing as soon as we get through these pit stops and the cycle of them in the next lap or 2 when pit road opens. Just past halfway.
9 laps behind. That's why they call it the key. They called those the good old days. Josh.
Well, for the 3rd time, Kyle Larson has swept the stages here at Bristol. You saw it. He was saying way too loose up top, way too loose on throttle. 4 tires of fuel adjustment to help him out, Jamie.
Denny Hamlin, a 4-time winner here at Bristol, says he's really good on the long run. Just needs a little help on that short run, the first 3 to 4 laps. Small air pressure adjustment for the 11. Regan.
Chase Briscoe in the 19 car faded just a little bit at the end of that run. Didn't have enough right rear grip. Still continues to be on the top of the track, and what he described a 4-wheel slide off of the corners. And the 12 of Ryan Blaney, balance is really good for him right now. It's tough for him to keep the rears underneath him on entry, though.
We're side by side coming down pit road from turn number 4. Lane that circle again.
Man.
Oh my gosh.
His pit crew,
5 spots.
Pit crew's terrible. Everybody needs fired off of this pit crew.
Well, Larson, I believe, won the race off pit road.
By a nose, Kyle Larson wins the race off of pit road on Denny Hamlin. Ryan Blaney loses 5 spots in the pits. He lost 4 on the first stage pit stop. Second stage loses 5. And that's with the #1 pit box for this 12 team. They have the #1 box and they're losing all these positions. Yeah, this pit crew needs an overhaul at some point. I mean, they have costed Blaney so many positions, really, all season. If not having loose wheels like they had a couple of times in the first 5 races. 2 of them in one race. It's costing him stage points. He's lucky enough that he got back to second. maybe it could have costed him a chance to win that last stage when you consider the fact that he had to come from 7th place to get to Larson and he ran out of laps. You know, if he was riding on his back bumper for 40 to 50 laps before that, if they didn't have a slow pit stop, I mean, maybe he could have eventually gotten around him. Yeah, this picture needs an overhaul. I mean, they've been awful all year. They were pretty bad last year. It was like an under the radar bad. Of the races I went to, I kind of noticed it a little bit more, maybe. But then this season, I mean, they took it to a new extreme. Something's got to change there. I mean, they can't keep losing 4 or 5 positions on 1 or 2 stops every week and expect to win a lot of races. They have won. And oddly enough, at Phoenix, he had to come back from a pit penalty that week. I think that was one of the loose tire. So that's what it was. Yeah, it wasn't a pit penalty, but it was one of the races where he had a loose tire. And he won stage 1. He won the race. You wonder if he maybe could have won stage 2. He didn't get any stage points in stage 2 of that one. I mean, that probably cost him quite a bit. All that adds up when you're second in points. We get to the end of the regular season. He, say, doesn't win the regular season championship within 10 to 20 points, and you just look back to how many spots and how many points they gave up in the stages all season because of bad pit stops. The driver hasn't been the problem, and everybody involved in making the race car go fast is not the problem, because that's been a fast race car all year last year and this year, especially. Christian Hicksonbaugh, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, they are screwing them up royally. That is for sure. All right, diecast showing, end of stage 2, another former winner at Bristol. This is the 2008 spring race winner. No, it was not spring. Spring was Kyle Busch. 2008 summer Bristol night race winner, Jeff Burton. This diecast was not from that race or that season, but this is Jeff Burton, singular wireless Chevy. He had a lot of really good paint schemes across his NASCAR Cup career, but in the 31, he had some good ones. Really like the fluorescent orange on this car. And, you know, one of the ones from my childhood that stuck out on the racetrack every weekend. So I try to keep it with themes of drivers who won at a specific racetrack every weekend when we do these diecast showings. Jeff Burton, former Bristol winner. That will be our diecast showing for the end of stage 2 this week. Green flag is back in the air. 240 laps to go. 260 complete. Already 3 wide, middle of the pack. Just outside the top 10. Great restart for Larson, getting that jump out ahead of Hamlin. He's got about 2 to 3 car lengths on him at the end of the first lap of stage 3 under green. Ryan Blaney on the outside of Ty Gibbs as they battle. Gibbs has had a good comeback. That first stage, that car was not looking great. He qualified in 6th. Fell back to 14th by the end of stage 1. And then at the end of stage 2, he got back in the back half of the top 10. And here he is looking for another top 5 this season. He's got 4 of them, tied for the most in the series. And he's in 5th. He's got 6 place finishes or better in each of the last 5 races. And now he just made a pass for 4th on Joey Logano. Or at least is in the process of doing so. They're side by side for position. Underdog of the race award. I mean, Josh Berry's had a good run. But Noah Gragson in that Ford car is all the way up to 11th. Very quiet day for Front Row Motorsports. No stage points today for Gragson, but he is looking really, really good. Well, I guess, now that I think about it, Carson Hocevar would probably be the underdog of the day award. I think he got more stage points than Barry today. Well, no, probably not, because Barry had them with the pit strategy in stage 1, but he's still up in the top 10. Hocevar, by the eye test, looks quicker. Although, what do you consider an underdog? I'll leave it up to the chat, because like Ty Gibbs, by technicality, should have gotten it every week. He is in a JGR car, but he also hasn't won in his Cup career, so it's like, I guess you can kind of consider him an underdog. Do you guys consider underdogs by way of equipment more or by winners? Or not winners, equipment more or by like the drivers and how many wins that they've had, for instance, over their career? I'm very curious because you can maybe even consider Kyle Busch an underdog, even though he's top 10 on the all-time NASCAR wins list, because he hasn't won in a few years. Probably varies. I feel like if you have more than 5 cup wins, then you're not really considered an underdog anymore. It's kind of my thing. Like a guy like Chris Buescher doesn't win every week either, but I don't think you can consider him an underdog. He's won a handful of races. Chastain kind of the same way, even though the equipment's not of that top tier team. Tyler Reddick. Especially Reddick this year. All right, so Joey Logano still trying to fend off Carson Hocevar. Hocevar held up behind the 22 in the bottom lane, made for quick work on the outside for Ryan Blaney to get another spot back, and now Blaney going to try to do that same thing on Joey Logano and make a quick pass. Tyler Reddick coming to life here. He had the speeding penalty all the way at the end of stage 1 after finishing 6th. He started on the front row, fell to 6th on that opening lap, stayed there the entire stage. And now he's back up in the top 10, and he is battling Hocevar currently for 7th. Somewhat greener racetrack at the beginning of the day. Blaney still has that bonus point for the fastest lap on lap 7, 15.554. I don't know if that's going to change the rest of the race, unless the track temp drops significantly between now and the finish, which could happen, but we're not going to see anywhere near complete darkness by the end. Showing a replay, Christopher Bell getting up against the wall after contact with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on the restart. Stenhouse on the lead lap, though for Christopher Bell, obviously he was 4 laps down earlier. Still is 4 laps down in 33rd. Top 5 in the running order following the restart. Kyle Larson in the lead, Denny Hamlin 2nd, Chase Briscoe 3rd, Ty Gibbs 4th, and Ryan Blaney 5th. 224 laps to go yet at Bristol Motor Speedway out of 500. 8 lead changes so far today. Ryan Blaney going for 4th on Ty Gibbs. Blaney's rolling the outside well. Honestly, Ryan Blaney has probably been the best on the outside lane today. I haven't seen Larson venture up there much, and when he does, he seems very loose with the back of his race car. And when Clint Boyer and Kevin Harvick were talking yesterday in practice, they mentioned on the broadcast, Bristol not a track where you really want to have a loose race car. At least to the extent that Larson was dealing with in practice yesterday, and here he is in the race again today. You just can't move up the racetrack like other drivers. And if that's going to become the dominant line of the day when we get closer to the checkered flag of running that middle to top and the bottom and the grip level goes away on the inside, I think that's really going to hurt Larson and open things up for a Hamlin or a Blaney to maybe take this win away from the guy who's led over half the race and won the first 2 stages. Hard to claim any as an underdog at this level. You know what? That's a good way of thinking about it, too. That's a valid point. You get to the Cup Series, and I guess you're there for a reason. 26 cars on the lead lap. Ryan Blaney making a pass for 3rd now on Chase Briscoe in the 19 car. Hasn't updated. Now it has. Okay, now it updated on our leaderboard with Blaney up to 3rd. He was looking like the quickest car on the racetrack that last stage. He was 2/10 faster than Larson the last lap and about 3/10 faster than 2nd place Denny Hamlin. Leaders have not gotten through lap traffic yet, and that 12 car making passes inside the top 10 when not a lot of drivers have been able to do so more than 5 or 6 laps into the restart. Who's Chad? Chad Fincham? Yes, he did start the race today. 76 laps down in 34th right now. I believe he was in the garage and then pulled back out on the track to gain a few more positions from those that had DNF'd. Not sure if he's still out there or not. We'll start park action for the MBM team. All right. Ty Gibbs, if he finishes top 5 today and Reddick doesn't, he's going to have the most top 5s of any driver in the series this season. He's 6th in points for a reason. He actually gained 5 positions of points just after the last race alone at Martinsville because of another solid day. We'll take another look at the point standings. Things are super tight from really from second on back. But if you look at the points of the drivers without a win, and I'll even take Byron out of it there. Let's go to 6th where Ty Gibbs is at in points. From Ty Gibbs to Daniel Suarez in 16th. 6th to 16th in points is separated by only 55. Obviously, early in the season, things are going to be that tight. That is not a huge separation. You could score 76 points in a full race. Then, to look at even tighter things, Christopher Bell, 7th in points, all the way to Bubba Wallace in 11th. Those 5 spots of points are separated by just 6 points. Part of why when Bubba Wallace had an off week at Martinsville and a DNF, he lost 8 spots in the standings and went from 3rd in points all the way back to 11th in one race. And because of how good Ty Gibbs did, he was able to go from 11th to 6th in the standings. So things are potentially going to change that drastically again this weekend when you look at like William Byron, who's been outside the top 30 all day today, Christopher Bell outside the top 30. They're sitting 5th and 7th in points. It's a very good possibility with the day Larson's having. Keselowski hasn't scored any stage points, but he's 13th and he's still within 6 points of Christopher Bell. He's going to be able to pass him in the standings. Chris Buescher, kind of the same thing right around Brad, no stage points, but running in the top 15. I mean, Bell and Byron, they're going to fall back in the standings quite a bit today. And they're 5th and 7th going in. There's a very high probability that Bell's not going to be in the top 10 in points anymore, especially knowing that back to 11th, he's only got a 6-point cushion. Byron's got a little bit of an extra cushion than Bell, but at least Bell had some stage points today. Byron didn't. 9 for Bell. He was 2nd at the end of stage 1. And Byron started 34th, and I don't think he's been higher than 32nd this entire race today. And obviously being trapped a few laps down doesn't help. Not going to make the day any better or any easier. Blaney in 2nd. Denny Hamlin dropped back a couple positions in the running order. Ty Gibbs' car has come to life. He's up to 3rd. Gibbs finished 3rd in the spring race behind Larson and Hamlin last year. So a lot of the same drivers we saw up at the front of the field in last year's spring Bristol race. Same thing here. Similar track conditions as well. Relatively warmer. And obviously the change in horsepower, the big difference between this year's race and last. Seen these cars move around a little bit more. It has made passing a little bit easier. There's definitely been some more off-throttle time. You can see these cars wiggling around a lot more in the corners, despite the fact that there hasn't really been any tire fall off. Half a second of fall off for Larson in the first 50 laps of this stage. Get about 100 laps in if we stay green in stage 3 like we have so far, and we may see some green flag pit stops. Drivers may try to hold out as long as they can, because if you pit under green at Bristol and a caution comes out quickly, you're going to get trapped a couple of laps down, as it takes only 15 seconds to complete a lap here. It's going to take about that much time just to get down into your pit box once you hit pit road, depending on where your box is at. And it's only a 35 mile per hour speed limit. Blaney is about 1.1 seconds behind Kyle Larson in that second spot. 2.1 seconds to Gibbs in 3rd. Larson, the leader. Hamlin 2.9 back and forth to Carson Hocevar, still in 5th place. He's 3.6 seconds out of the lead also. There's at least 2 lap cars between the 5 and the 12 as well. Blaney, the last lap, a couple tenths slower than Larson, though he had the lap traffic in front of him. Might have hurt him a bit being in slightly dirty air. 5 car ran a 16.19 to Blaney's 16.40. Blaney was about a 10th quicker the lap before that. So now the lead's back to a 2.5 seconds. Hosevard closing in on Denny Hamlin. And Hamlin, the slowest car of any in the top 5 right now. Obviously, he got passed by Blaney and Gibbs recently, and now Hosevar's all over him as well. Ty Gibbs ran his fastest lap of the race at lap 284 early in stage 3. He's the only driver to run his fastest lap of the race in stage 3 of the top 10. In fact, even if you go back to stage 2, nobody in the top 10 ran their fastest lap in the second stage either. RFK looking pretty good with Priest and Keselowski. Priest up 5 positions since the restart. He also ran his fastest lap in stage 3. So maybe look out for that 60 car to break into the top 10 before long. Keselowski just did as he made a pass for 10th place as I was talking about that. Also running his fastest lap at lap 271. Getting by Bubba Wallace. Priest going to get by Wallace as well. 3 wide. As both cars around the top will blow by the 23. Larson about to put his teammate William Byron yet another lap down. This would put Byron 4 laps down in the race today. No incidents for that 24 car. It has just been a slow day. Pete Kramer, thanks for tuning in. Zane needs a yellow. It's going down 2. Only guy down 1. If you're on track and 70 plus laps down, why are you still here? Just trying to get as many spots as possible. Obviously not running the full season, but there's still financials, especially with these smaller teams that every position probably matters that much. If they go back out there, have a clean day, and get those spots. And for drivers that are running the full race or the full season, we got a crash. Hang on a second. Eric Jones, Kyle Busch are around. I think Michael McDowell might have caught some of that as well. 188 laps to go. Lap 313, our 6th caution of the race. And it takes place during a side-by-side commercial break on Fox Sports 1. Again, Eric Jones and Kyle Busch involved. Both cars were towards the tail end of the lead lap. Same for Michael McDowell, who I believe got his nose into the 43 when both Jones and Busch were sliding sideways down the banking here at Bristol. We are just a little bit outside the fuel window to make it to the end of the race, but by pitting now, knowing that we had a 60-lap green flag run. Showing a replay, looks like Riley Herbst got into Kyle Busch in the outside lane, spun him around, and Jones was sliding sideways trying to miss the incident. He was on the brakes quickly, just couldn't get the car slowed up in time. Yeah, Herbst got into him. Yikes. Jones had the brakes locked up on that bottom lane up out of the corner. He slides into Kyle Busch trying to miss the incident. And then Michael McDowell catches his left front across the left side door of the 43. Very minimal damage for the 71. And honestly, for the 43 and the 8, there isn't much damage either. Jones upset he couldn't miss the wreck after locking the brakes up. Pit road open with 186 to go.
And 60 laps, the same problem during this run as the last one. Just got 2 loose towards the end of that one, so they're going to make an air pressure adjustment in addition to those tires and fuel. Jamie?
Not a lot of chatter on the radio from Denny Hamlin, who comes in and pits for 4. It says 2 loose to run the top. Fill them up there, put 4 tires on. Around to the front again to Regan.
54 Ty Gibbs continuing this impressive run today. Right now, this last run just a little bit too free for him throughout the entire time. Asked for him to tighten him up just a little bit. In the 12 car, Ryan Blaney, we've documented the issues on pit road for him. We have to see if they can give him a good stop here. As for the car, the
just don't lose any.
We're very good in the 12 car. Best to spin on entry all day long.
Oh my gosh.
Hamlin, and then Blaney.
Well, Blaney loses 2 spots that time. It's better than losing 4 to 5 like he did on the first 2 stops under caution, but he still loses 2. That's the problem. He's still losing spots. It wasn't as bad, but it's a baby step. Baby step. Step in the right direction. It does look like we had some cars stay out on the racetrack, trying to get some track position with about 60 laps on their tires. The problem here is if it goes green for a long period of time, because if it stays green, let's just say theoretically speaking, we go green to the end of the race, last 184 laps. Drivers who are staying out now, they're going to have to pit with a little less than 100 to go. Probably a little bit less than half the fuel run's been burned out right now. And you couldn't make it on field at the end of the race from there either, so the drivers who pitted now are not going to be able to make it to the finish. I could be wrong on how many cars might have stayed out. I'm waiting for our leaderboard to update. It doesn't look like anybody stayed out. I think those that did were lap cars and they're taking the wave around, but that's it. So Kyle Larson wins the race off pit road yet again. He is the leader. Ty Gibbs is up to second. Denny Hamlin third. Ryan Blaney lost 2 spots in the pits. He's now fourth. Chase Briscoe fifth. And Carson Hocevar will be sixth on the restart. All right. Well, we'll take another quick break here as we're under caution. Live on KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage of today's Food City 500 at Bristol. Reed Stevens, thanks for tuning in. Total net loss of 11 positions today on pit road across the 3 pit stops for the 12 of Ryan Blaney. 5 spots, then 4, now 2. They're progressively getting better, but it's not by enough. And as we get later in this race, they just need to not lose spots on pit road, and they're losing them. Just net gain of 0. That's all you ask for. If you get anything more than that, then it's just a bonus.
Sometimes at Goodwood, they like to race hard. This is a video that Parker reposted. He said, Pro Motorsports spends billions of dollars over the last 50 years on advancement. Tinted racing at Goodwood says that's cute. And the worst part is you can see it coming. He's like, oh, I got it.
Expecting him to get whipped out of the car, though.
No, I don't have to. No seatbelts. Understand now?
We'll join Kevin every Tuesday and Thursday. Kevin Harvick's happy hour. Finish racing is supposed to be fun. There's, no trophies for finishing positions. You go out there, you have fun, you pass cars that pass you, everybody has a good time. That look like
You're supposed to pass your own car, though. That guy.
That's that's true.
Oh man.
Supposed to pass your own.
Guess our crew chief could tell us probably shouldn't hit the tires, huh?
Well, there's a comparison of Blaney and Gibbs on pit road. And that's why Ty Gibbs is second right now, and Ryan Blaney is fourth behind Gibbs and Hamlin. Man, what a difference, Kevin.
And well, that's just going to be the story of the rest of this race. We've seen the racetrack change every time we bring this up. Now the top is starting to get as black as the bottom. See the middle all cleaned up where they've all been riding around under caution.
You got a really racy racetrack right now. Look at the build up in the middle, though.
All right, this was the 6th caution flag. Ricky Stenhouse safety violation. He will restart at the back. 25 lead lap cars. As we get set for the restart, finishing up the 6th caution of the day. Hamlin inside of Larson. Gibbs second on the outside. Blaney on the inside.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin did a really good job in that bottom lane. At best we've seen anybody fire off on the bottom so far.
Shane Van Gisbergen back in the race after lengthy repair.
And what I would consider a mad driver in that 12 car up on the outside right now. Oh, careful. Contact.
Yes.
Remember, Hamlin did that at Martinsville.
But he just had such a massive run on Denny Hamlin. I don't think that he expected him to catch him that fast.
All right, here we go, baby. Now he's back to second. That was as fast of a recovery as we've seen out of him.
Squeeze 3 wide coming off turn 2. And Hamlin got shot out of the middle.
In trouble.
Logano and Gibbs going at it for third. Joey making that high groove work. Gets the momentum off the corner.
Yeah, and it
Beats
seems
Gibbs
like
to 3.
And it seems like that 22 car fires off really good on these restarts and then fades at the end of the run. But I think the interesting thing right here, Larry, is can we make it on gas?
It's right there on the threshold. Remember, the fuel window was maybe around 170. We went back racing on 180. It's right there, Kevin.
Well, let me ask you this, crew chief. We see all these fast pit stops. Did they put all the gas in them?
We've known them not to, and especially in a place like this with some of the rear downforce going, not filling it up, keeping nose right in.
Boy.
So that wasn't much of an answer, Larry. Can we make it?
We can make it if we're full.
Okay, I like that. Well, about 5 miles per gallon on this Sunoco race fuel with zero carbon bioethanol. And they've got what they got.
I can tell you what, that 12's got some anger and a fast race car. Put some pressure on Larson, the leader.
Well, and look, if the caution comes out again, but his best defense is
Hey, Debbie, stay off of that.
is to be leading this race.
Right? Exactly.
And as far forward as you can
That's a
get.
great point. Speaking of forward, Tyler Reddick just made it up into the top half dozen. Well, he and Chase Briscoe fighting now for that 6th spot, but Reddick just keeps creeping up there.
And that's important, Mike.
Yes.
If we look, his boss said it to me during the interview that we did with him earlier in the year. Tyler Reddick, if he's going to win a championship, he's got to get better on short tracks. And Tyler Reddick knows that himself. Talked about it after a couple of his wins that we got to do good at Martinsville. We got to do good at Bristol. We just have to be better on the short tracks. And today, even with the penalty that they had, this is a big step, in my opinion, for the performance of Tyler Reddick and his 45 team.
You really can't ask much more on the racetrack than this. It is racing. I mean, they're all over the place on the bottom, in the middle, on the top. As far as a racing groove surface, that's hard to accomplish anywhere on any racetrack in any weekend. Look at that thing.
And the unique part is the top is completely rubbered in, but you can still make really good time. The leaders are both on the bottom of the racetrack still making their fast times.
Well, I go all the way back to pre-racing, and you two are genuine major picks. And there are the 3 of them, all right in the top 3 spots.
Yeah, it's kind of like we look like we know what we're talking about sometimes, Glenn.
I would agree.
It looks that way.
Keselowski's going to get squeezed. He's going to be the hot dog in the middle of this one. Allmendinger on the bottom. Gilliland up top, and going to get away clean.
Oh, gonna get
boy.
some. Not happy. Allmendinger back into the rear of the 6th car.
Well,
There we go. Talking about nuclear hot dogs again, Mike. You're done with Martinsville.
oh, that's right. Keselowski's car isn't quite that red.
Like that, Mike.
Logano 2.8 seconds back of the leader.
Yeah, that 12 car, he's put up a couple fast laps, and now
There he goes.
he's back in. He ran a 15:93 the last lap, but he just can't quite get there.
He's trying.
Back.
Now he's gonna move him. Oh boy, hang on.
More contact as they go down the back straightaway.
Now 5's got the preferred groove.
Yeah, but Larson's not rolling the
He got
top
clear
well.
him. I think he is.
No, yeah, Larson struggles up
I
high.
think that 12 car is faster in either lane right now. I think that they just that, as we've seen so many times, the 5 sliding around up off the corner, but that 12, as we get to the end of these races, and we've heard it on the radio from the 5 car and Cliff Daniels, just how well that 12 car will hunt that line through the corner.
Kevin, how easy is it to lead these laps? You've dominated races before yourself and get complacent out there leading. It's hard to tell yourself, keep up with this racetrack when they're dominating races. You can't keep an eye on and get a gauge on Blaney, your competitor here, because he's all over the place on pit road.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's so many times you don't have to drive the car over the edge. As we see that contact for the lead right here with Ryan Blaney.
Ryan Blaney back out in front for the first time since leading at the start of the race from the pole for those first 45 laps before Kyle Larson took his first of what would have been 3 different leads in the race today. 11th lead change of the day, also with Ryan Blaney taking the top spot. 158 laps still to go, 343 completes. We'll go through the full field running order now. Ryan Blaney out in front, Kyle Larson second, Ty Gibbs third, Joey Logano fourth, and Denny Hamlin in the 5th spot. 6th is Tyler Reddick, Chase Briscoe 7th, Carson Hocevar 8th, Ryan Preece 9th, 10th is Josh Berry, Bubba Wallace 11th, Austin Cindric 12th, Todd Gillen 13th, AJ Allmendinger 14th, and Brad Keselowski 15th. 16th is Chris Buescher, Austin Dillon 17th, Chase Elliott 18th, Noah Gragson 19th, and Ross Chastain in 20th. Daniel Suarez in 21st, Riley Herbst 22nd, Zane Smith 23rd, Michael McDowell 24th, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 25th. Kyle Busch in 26th, Eric Jones 27th, Ty Dillon 28th, 29th, Connor Zilisch 30th, Cole Custer, Cody Ware 31st, 32nd, Christopher Bell, William Byron 33rd, both Bell and Byron 3 laps down. Chad Fincham back off track again in 34th. Shane Van Gisbergen in 35th. John Hunter Nemechek 36th. Alex Bowman 37th here today. Another last place finish for Bowman. He actually he would have finished last at Coda, the last race he was in, getting subbed out in that 48 car, finishing a couple laps down. Myatt Snyder finished the race for him. That's a very tough break. So he's missed 4 races, and the last 2 races that he did end up racing, he did not finish the race and finished last. That is a tough stat line for Alex Bowman and Bowman fans out there. Yeah, Ty Gibbs, he's still hanging around too. He's actually a little bit quicker than Larson that last lap. Larson's fallen over a second off of Blaney. And the lap time between Gibbs and Blaney right now, Ty Gibbs was actually faster than Blaney that last lap also, so don't count the 54 out of it. Joey Logano for Team Penske up to 4th place quietly as well. 4.5 seconds, though, off the lead, but his lap time's within a couple hundredths of our race leader, Ryan. Almost halfway through stage 3. Get there in about another 23 or so laps.
And it's on Fox. Larson's last Cup win came at Kansas last May. He is currently second to Ryan Blaney by almost 2 seconds. Blaney just edging away.
Well, at this point, you want to drive as far away as possible. Trying to put as many lap cars in between you as you can. In case that caution comes back out, hit the pit road. But Ryan Blaney definitely has the dominant car right now. He's still running. He'll click off some laps in the 15-second category every once in a while when he's in cleaner air.
Only 2 of the 37 starters out of this race, Chad Fincham and Alex Bowman. And still 25 cars on the lead lap. Well, we've now got an honest 2-groove racetrack. Drivers are either way up at the top or right down on the yellow line.
And there's really no middle. Like middle is no man's land except for the restarts. And the only reason that the middle works on the restart is because they pick up all the rubber.
Ryan Blaney has the fastest lap of the race, and he's had an interesting day. He's been up. And you see there how the slow pit stop dropped him down, and he's recovered on 2 occasions to drive back up toward the front of the field. And now took him 35 laps to get back up to 2nd place after that. And then into the lead past Kyle Larson. Larson's led more than half the laps, 284. Blaney's been out front. They've each led 5 times. Blaney now for 70 laps this next time around.
Michael McDowell going 1 lap down. That'll leave us 24 lead lap runners. Ricky Stenhouse, the last of those. Joey Logano in 4th, Denny Hamlin 5th, working some traffic.
Yeah, and Logano's done a great job this afternoon of what I pointed out earlier was the struggle that he was having. They qualified bad, but as the champions in this sport do, they put themselves in a position by keeping their head in the game and knowing what they had. And he knew he did do a good job in qualifying yesterday. Now they put themselves in the top 5 consistently as we've gone through the most of this day.
Logano won here twice with the Gen 6 car, but this would only be his 2nd top 10 in his last 10 starts here.
See Ryan Blaney starting to go through some heavy lap traffic now. Eric Jones, who was involved in that last crash, Ross Chastain.
Look at that car wiggling around.
Qualified 6th, and now getting ready to go lap down, Clint.
We got some Kyle Larson radio on how Blaney was able to catch him.
Remember, I'm a very sorry.
And that's exactly what Cliff just said, is what I saw as Kevin was talking about Blaney trying to get around Chastain there for a lapper. And he's starting to wiggle around a little bit. And if I'm the leader, I'm starting to think about, all right, let's pace ourselves. We know that I've got a huge lead on the 5 car. Larry just told us, hey, this thing could maybe go the end, fuel mileage wise. We can make it clear to the end of this thing. So I need these tires to stay with me as long as I possibly can.
Yeah, and I think as you talk about the 12 of Blaney there, now the problem he has is everybody is on the top of the racetrack. So it takes a little bit longer to make these passes as the back of the race car is starting to come out of the racetrack and you're using more tire on the bottom of the racetrack. But you are not going to pass them on the top of the racetrack when they start. This top lane is the preferred groove. So he has to work the bottom. Car works really good down there and still running fast laps, but way harder on the right rear tire.
I know Regan Smith showed us earlier a set of tires that came off one of the cars that looked awfully good. But, I'm not sure fuel is the issue here. I'm more about on this whole tire deal because these guys have got to go, as I mentioned, 180 laps. The longest green flag run we've had is 82 laps. Now, remember, Josh Berry and Chase Elliott did go 150 laps. I think asking 180 laps out of the tires is a lot.
I think it's too much too, Larry. I mean, looking back at the end of that stage 2, there was a lot of guys all over the place.
6th place race right here. Tyler Reddick's continuing his march toward the front. Had a chance at Hocevar there. Couldn't close the deal, and Chase Briscoe is now right there.
But going back to what Clint and Larry were talking about, if they're full of fuel, if somebody's full of fuel and can't make it to the end of the caution and come out, they're trying it.
Absolutely. Follow the leaders. You just follow the leader.
That's right.
Right along with Chase Briscoe in the 19 car, right behind him as well, looking over there at your board, Greeks. Haven't heard anything out of that 60 car all day long in the top 10, holding pretty wheel. Starting to make some hay when the money's on the line.
But that is so RFK in these days. When you talk about the 3 of those cars, they figure out a way to put themselves in the game by the end of the race. Whoa! See that 11 car? Squeeze that 22 car up in the fence right there up off the corner. Luckily, that didn't result in a wreck. Logano recognized it, backed out of the gas.
And it's brought Hocevar right to them.
Right along with the leader here, Blaney. Check this out. You want to know how quick things can go right back and de-escalate for you? Look in front of him, Kyle Busch. Watch this, Kevin.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh.
And that's exactly what happened to Kyle Busch earlier, but it resulted in a spin out. That time he was able to save it. So easy to do here.
Right in front of your leader.
But so easy to do, Clint, as you get going through turns 3 and 4 and you're trying to ride that bottom and all of a sudden that car bounces out of the racetrack coming up the banking.
If he'd have overcorrected, that'd have been right in your lap.
Yep. Kyle had passed Riley Herbst 2 or 3 laps ago. Remember, they got together back at lap 313 and brought out the caution. Passed Herbst, but couldn't hold the position in front of him as he got loose there and dropped back to 26th. 120 laps to go in Bristol. Ryan Blaney out in front of Kyle Larson now by 2.3 seconds.
Top 10 in the running order with about 120 laps to go as Ryan Blaney in the lead, Kyle Larson second, Ty Gibbs third, Denny Hamlin fourth, and Joey Logano in fifth. Sixth place is Carson Hocevar, Chase Briscoe in seventh, Ryan Preece eighth, Tyler Reddick ninth, and 10th is Bubba Wallace. Carson Hocevar, Joey Logano in a current battle for position. We got a spinner right in front of him. Couldn't tell who that was. It's the 88 rookie Connor Zilich. And the Roto-Rooter number 88 Chevrolet. Zilich going for a spin, bringing out a caution at lap 383, our 7th caution of the day. And this is not what Ryan Blaney needed to see, was any more cautions. Couldn't be that easy that they were going to stay green for about 180-something laps to the end of the race, though. But they were green for about a good 60 to 70 laps there. He was able to take the lead for the first time since stage 1. Good news for Larson. His crew has won the race off pit road every stop, and the 12 team has not been good with every stop. The good news is that Ryan Blaney does have a couple lap cars between himself and Larson when the caution came out, so he'll have a little bit of a buffer when they do come into the pits, but I thought that's really helped much throughout the day, but it's not going to hurt. And Zilich got up against the wall right in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Spun down the racetrack. It's right in front of Hocevar and Logano, who are in a tight battle for 5th place. Logano credited with the spot at the time of the caution. Yeah, 116 laps to go. Fuel window is easily open to the end of the race. There were some question marks on that in the last stop. So I don't think anybody's going to stay out, especially with this many laps left, because we've seen tires cliff after about 100 laps. Pit road's open.
Track position.
Yeah, Blaney's got a gap. They have to win this race off pit road.
Off that pit crew.
Look at that nice buffer he has there as they roll down the backstretch pit road.
Then a big gap between Gibbs and Hamlin, third and fourth.
Get his car to do what Blaney's car's been able to do out there. Cliff Daniels told him over the radio, what we can do, we can give you an air pressure adjustment, and we can beat him off the pit road. Let's see if they can do that here, Jamie.
Denny Hamlin pits from fourth. His pit crew has been outstanding today. Gained them 6 spots on pit road. It's a 4-tire stop here. Pretty happy with it overall, Regan.
Ty Gibbs was a little bit better on that run, but the team, and a little sketchy on entry with it still, though. Team warned him at the start that they had more fuel load, so that may have been the case. In the 12 car of Ryan Blaney, the balance was good. He was trying to conserve tires, but build a gap all at the same time.
And you see that 12 team rebound right there.
Good job, guys. Good rebound. Showing up with the lines on the line.
Full contact here between Josh Berry and Kyle Larson. We're under caution at Bristol.
All right, under caution, a little bit of contact coming out of the pits there between Kyle Larson and Josh Berry, kind of vouching for spots. Really was out of the pit box for Larson. Luckily, Ryan Blaney didn't lose any spots in the pits that time. The first net 0 that team has had all day today. He'll retain the race lead. Now we'll have to see how he launches on this initial start, which he did on the initial start have a good launch starting on the pole outside of row 1. Inside of that first row just has not been able to fire off well. The restart zone right in the middle of that turn 4 exit. Just can't get the grip level needed to try to get the fire off and get out to at least even being side by side. I don't think we've seen a side by side battle for the lead down the back straightaway on a restart all day. I'm pretty sure the controlled car every time, whether it was Larson or Blaney on the initial start, has been able to get clear of the bottom lane car every single time. So we're going to restart with just more than 100 laps to go at Bristol Motor Speedway. So Ryan Blaney in the 12 leads the way. Never a winner at Bristol, two-time pole sitter, best career finish 3 times, finishing 4th at this track. Decent crowd on hand on the front and back stretch here at Bristol. Beautiful day in Bristol, Tennessee. Probably the best weather they've had for a spring race here. I don't want to say ever, but it's been a very long time. Early summer or just a beautiful spring day all together. Yeah, they still need some shakeups on that team for sure. Even though they have one good pit stop out of 4 on the day. I don't think that I don't think that calls for, oh yeah, we're good now. I mean, we're 8 races into the season now, and this is stuff that's been happening all year. That's almost a quarter of the season. We'll be a quarter of the way through the season after next week at Kansas, so you gotta change something up. You don't want it to be too late to where you change things up now on pit road. There might be some growing pains that first week or two, but it's still early enough in the season. You don't have to make that change, towards the end of the year when you're trying to make that push for the regular season championship, or obviously in the chase when that begins. Get ahead of the curve, if you will. So Ryan Blaney will be the leader on the restart. Kyle Larson is going to be second. Ty Gibbs third. Todd Gilliland is scored in 4th on our screen, but I don't think that's accurate. I'll wait on that one quick second. Unless he took rights only. Did he take 2 tires? What a strategy call if he took 2. I don't think he's going to fall back outside of the top 20 where he was running. All right, so, yeah, it is Todd Gilliland. Wow. I believe it was a 2-tire stop to the 34 team. So Blaney will be first on the restart. Larson second. The Ty Gibbs, Todd Gilliland third, fourth. Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe 5th and 6th. 110 laps to go officially when we do get back to the start-finish line and get back to green. Not seen Todd Gilliland anywhere close to the top 10 all day today. We're looking for the track position. Gibbs on the inside of row 1 for the restart. Larson takes outside of row 2 from second place. Green flag back in the air. Larson trying to go up extra lane to Ryan Blaney. Pretty good restart for Gibbs on the bottom, but couldn't get enough clearance on Larson to pull into second. Larson clear running that top lane through 3 and 4. Another chance to make some adjustments for that 5 group who have been very loose when trying to run the outside of the racetrack and just loosening up over the course of the long run as well. So if they're trying to make that car tight for a long run to the finish now with over 100 laps to go, I'm not going to necessarily blame them. So damage on the 21 of Josh Berry, who was having a pretty good day today. Right front tires rubbing up against the fender, and I think he's going to have to come to pit road for an unscheduled stop before long. Otherwise, he could be in danger of that tire getting punctured. Todd Gilliland holding on to 4th on the restart. Battle for 5th just behind him between Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano. Hamlin on the inside, Logano up high. Hamlin clear up out of the exit of turn 4. Gives the Logano an extra amount of space, though, to keep that battle going for at least another turn. I'm surprised Hamlin didn't shut the door on him, honestly. He had a chance to shut the door in 22. Slips back to the outside again. And because of that non-aggressiveness by Hamlin, Logano, the following lap, does get back by Denny Hamlin. And now it's Joey Logano in 5th. 1 Chevy, 1 Toyota in the top 5, 3 Fords. Excuse me. That snuck up on me. I didn't have a chance to mute the mic. 2 spots gained on the restart for Logano as well. From 7th, where he restarted, to getting that spot up to 5th. Blaney already checking out to about a 1-second lead over Larson. Top 10 in the running order with 100 laps to go as Blaney in the lead. Kyle Larson second, Ty Gibbs in third, Todd Gilliland fourth, Joey Logano fifth, Denny Hamlin battling for sixth with Carson Hocevar. Hocevar has that spot for now, then Hamlin seventh. Chase Briscoe eighth, Ryan Preece ninth, and Tyler Reddick in 10th. Tyrell looks like it might have stopped on that 21 of Josh Berry. He did not come onto pit road for an unscheduled stop. He's going to try to ride it out and continue on the lead lap. 21 car is currently last on the lead lap and 25th. Showing a replay of where that tire rub came about. He actually hit the wall pretty hard coming off the exit of turn 4 after contact from behind on that back bumper from the 4 car of Noah Gragson. Blaney now going to put Berry a lap down. Car's not handling right after he hit the wall, that's for sure. It's well off the pace of what he was running earlier. Only 24 cars now in the lead lap, last of which Michael McDowell in the 71. Hamlin and Hocevar continue to put their battle on. Chase Elliott, who won at Martinsville, been a non-factor pretty much all day today at Bristol, battling with Chris Buescher on the bottom of the screen for 13th. For those of you visually watching on Fox Sports 1. Just not seeing the strength out of that 11 car like we've seen at Bristol in the past. Still having a good day, obviously running top 5, top 10, but not race win contending, I don't believe. Hocevar might have to try the outside behind Hamlin for a lap as they close in on Josh Berry and a couple other lap cars down around the bottom. Elliott wins the battle for 13th with Chris Buescher. Kyle Larson definitely hanging the banner up for Hendrick Motorsports today. Elliott nowhere near as bad as what Bowman and Byron were running. Bowman out of the race in last, obviously because of a crash, but even before that was barely inside the top 30. William Byron has been multiple laps down ever since stage 1 on speed. It still continues 4 laps down in 32nd. As far as not letting this 11 car get away from him. Lap traffic kind of hindering the progress the 77 was making on that bottom groove of the racetrack. Todd Gilliland nowhere near fast enough to keep up with those top 3 cars, but he's still holding on to 4th for now with the right side tires only on that last stop. Could lead into maybe some strategy of going that way with another later pit stop if we see another caution before the finish. Because he's hanging on for a decent amount of time. Now, I do think those tires are going to clip at some point in the run, and he will start losing spots if it stays green to the end. But if we get another quick caution, which is kind of the hope at some point between now and before that happens, he's very much in this thing. And obviously, again, 4th, much better than where he was running outside of the top 20 most of the day. He was towards the tail end of the lead lap. He's actually a lap down real early in the race, too. Back at stage 1, he was of that group that took the wave around with the first caution. I don't think he's gone a lap down since. Great job, as that 34 team has just been battle tested today. 88 laps to go for Ryan Blaney at Bristol. Kyle Larson still in 2nd, Ty Gibbs 3rd, Todd Gilliland 4th, Joey Logano rounds out the top 5 in 5th. Take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage of the Food City 500 at Bristol. Mike G, welcome to the stream. Hello, what's happening? My guy Ryan Blaney's leading. That's what's happening. Looking pretty good out there. Still worried if we catch another caution that he's not going to win the race off of pit road. Is there any chance Ty Gibbs can maybe run him down if he can get by Larson? There's quite a bit of lap traffic coming up in front of that 5 car. And the 54 is only about 4 car lengths, maybe even less than that behind him. And within 2 seconds of the leader, Ryan Blaney. I believe Larson has led the most laps in the race to this point, 284 to Blaney's 126. So yeah, over half the laps for the scheduled distance, Larson has clinched the most laps led. Blaney has led for 126. 6 for Chase Elliott. And that's it. Nobody else has led today. Outside of the 6 laps by Elliott, staying out of the pits way back in stage 1, and it's been all the 12 and all the 5. 80 to go.
You're right. He is overachieving.
Yeah, I mean, you got Chase Elliott in 14th, and Alex Bowman's last, and William Byron's 31st. So,
You're 420 laps into this race. You've been pulling 3 Gs laterally and 3 Gs down into the seat. Now for a whole lot of laps. What hurts first?
well, I would tell you that my right shoulder would always hurt first because of it's not typically getting that much, as much constant load as it will here at Bristol because of all those G forces. And you'll squish down, and you'll see it right here with Chase. You're starting to see his head bend as he goes into the corner and gets straight.
It looks like he's looking at the right front.
But look at that right shoulder. Whoa, hang on to it there, Chase.
Just buried in the seat.
Your shoulder just gets buried in the seat right there. And as you're doing so much of the turning while that load is at its maximum level, it just winds up right on the ball of your shoulder right there. Winds up being hurt. It winds up hurting by the time the race is over. Or mine did.
Oh, man, he's got his hands full. Regan has more.
Well, Mike, just to add on something, it might be hurting some drivers right now, and I can tell you, I've had this happen at Bristol. It is not fun. AJ Allmendinger in the 16 car, his feet have been on fire for the majority of this race, struggling with the heat on the pedals, so much so he's asking for some ice as soon as the race is over for those feet that he's complaining about. Doing a nice job, though, running 13th and moving forward right now.
Yeah, and that is not something that is 100% typical in this car. With the old car, your feet used to get super hot and all the things that would happen down there. You had booties on. It got to the point in this car where I didn't even wear heel booties. So that's a little bit surprising to me that his feet are that hot.
Larry back?
Yeah, talking about Kyle Larson in that 5, a little bit off of Ryan Blaney right now in that 12. Kyle running second. We're about 40 laps into this run with close to 70 laps to go. He just told Cliff Daniels, you have not fixed the rear of the car. Now my car's not turning. But one observation, he is using a lot more brake than Blaney and Ty Gibbs.
Ty Gibbs is right there.
Yeah, the brake pedal at this track is not your friend. And that's one of the things that I was talking about earlier with Larson. He's able to manipulate the car with the pedals, but when you have to use a lot of brake here, it puts a lot of stress on the right rear tire because you got to get the mid-corner speed back up, and that shoves the back of the car around to the 3/4 mark, and then it wants to snap.
It's loose into the corner. Using a lot of brake, trying to keep the thing underneath of you, getting into the corner, having to blow up the speed. And you can see it wag its tail quite a bit throughout the corner, starting with the entrance. I love the telemetry here. At no point in the lap are these drivers hardly at all going less than 100 miles an hour. One of the things is that you asked about, what hurts.
Oh, Gregson's loose.
You get crampy, believe it or not. As you start to get dehydrated and running out there, you start to kind of cramp up. And for me, that's the most uncomfortable feeling, really, is just needing to stretch and get out and move around a little bit. Now, Kevin, you talked about your shoulder. Denny Hamlin decided to forego shoulder surgery in the off season. He injured his shoulder. He says, nope. He says, I'm not going to have time to get it repaired and get it healed before Daytona. I'm just going to race this season and then attend to it This must be an especially tough day for him.
Yeah, I mean, it can definitely it can expose those types of problems in ways that they hadn't been exposed before. So, I think Denny does a good job in taking care of himself. But the other thing here too is just trying to make yourself not grip the steering wheel, not hold on. I was really finicky about when my gloves would start to sweat and how they would grip the steering wheel, and work with Max Pappas a lot on what type of steering wheel I needed, what type of grip I needed on my gloves. Ty Gibbs getting loose right there, but you don't realize the grip that you need on the steering wheel to keep yourself relaxed and not get tired and those cramps in your forearms and hands.
64 laps to go. Ryan Blaney out ahead by 3 seconds now over Kyle Larson. Top five, mostly the same from what I was reading off a little bit ago. Ryan Blaney in the lead. Kyle Larson second. Ty Gibbs third. Todd Gillen fourth. But now Carson Hocevar back into fifth again and has a 2-second gap or so over Denny Hamlin in sixth. 2.5 hours into the race, 7 cautions, 11 lead changes. Blaney just hoping it stays green to the end here, these final 60 or so laps. But he doesn't want to see his 3 wide like we just saw Michael McDowell, the lap car, getting split between Joey Logano and Tyler Reddick on track, who are battling for currently 8th place. Both 2311 Toyotas back in the top 10, running 9th and 10th right now. Bubba Wallace just behind his teammate Reddick. Few extra car lengths behind the battle. Blaney has lapped over half of the field in this final stage. We are down to just 20 cars on the lead lap. Brad Keselowski, the last of which is surprising because he was actually up as high as 10th during the second to last green flag run, but that 6 team has lost quite a few spots over the course of this most recent stretch of green flag laps. We went the wrong way on an adjustment. They probably want another caution fast before they fall a lap down and fall out of contention to do any kind of a strategy to get them a better track position and a better finish for the end of the race, which could happen. I mean, we've seen the success from Todd Gillen and that 34 team taking the right side tires, restarted 4th. He's still in 4th. And we have been green for about 31 laps now. Went green with 88 to go, so. Actually, no, I think this was the restart. We went green with 110 to go. Yes, we had 110 laps to go in the restart, so we have gone just over 50 laps, and Gillen's still holding on with those older left side tires. I do think if a caution comes out, we're going to see a mixed bag of those taking 4 and taking 2, and I think if you take 2 tires, that's going to win you the race. I don't think you can take 4 and expect to win if like 3 or 4 drivers take 2. It's going to be similar to when we saw drivers stay out yesterday. And that could be part of the strategy as well if we get with like 20 to go or less. And drivers could just stay out of the pits. If you pit, you got to take 2. Ryan Blaney was on that strategy. It won him the race at Phoenix. I would like to think they're going to try it again if it comes down to it. And obviously that crew's going to have to be quick. But with a 2-tire stop, less of a chance of making a mistake than if they were to make a 4-tire stop. So there's that. Keselowski caught speeding on the last pit. Okay, thank you for that. Well, that would explain why he's so far back in the running order then. All right, just over 50 to go. We'll take another break here. You're listening live on KRC, full flag-to-fly coverage of today's race. Hocevar slowly catching Todd Gillen for 4th. Just over 6 seconds out of the lead. After Gillen, it's over a second back to Briscoe in 6th. But just made a pass on Denny Hamlin recently. That 11 car hasn't been great on the long runs today, but they're getting exposed late. Probably the worst Hamlin's been on the long run, at least since back in stage 1. I mean, even a top 10 is going to be a fantastic finish for the 34. There's a shot Gillen could get a top 5 out of this.
Take that chance, and it's paying off for him big time.
Great run for the 3rd-generation driver. All right, Blaney. Underneath his teammate, Austin Cindric. The 17th place car now draws a bead on Brad Keselowski.
Larson now 3.5 seconds back at the. Squeeze play there.
Yeah, you saw the 35 car get into the door of the 47 and kind of bounce back to the left, and then Larson got into his left rear. So you'll see these cars, the 35 and 47, make contact. Just kind of the way it goes here at Bristol. No harm, no foul right there.
Ryan Blaney had a 3.2 second lead before getting into the traffic, his largest of the day. Currently, Larry, he's 1.3 seconds up on Ty Gibbs. That is shrinking a bit. And this just happened.
Oh,
Wow.
And that cut Blaney's lead from almost 2 seconds in half.
Well, think about this, guys. When this car qualified yesterday, and you opened the show with this, like his first lap as we go on board with Ryan Blaney. Oh man,
Heavy lap traffic in front of him right now, too.
You talked about his first qualifying lap sideways, made it work the second lap. Clint, you talked about the back of that car moving around and him starting to struggle with it, and then bam, that moment happens right there.
Well, Larry, that moment almost made my trends come to fruition. Calling off. I'm not going to tell you about Bristol trends. I looked at the first 7 races of 2026 Daytona to Martinsville. We've had one overtime. That was the Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta. But the average of the last caution, 39 laps to go, that would be lap 461 here at Bristol today, which is about 2 laps from that.
2 laps from now, okay.
I like your trends, but I like what I'm seeing out of Gibbs. Here's your opportunity, kid. Go to the win. Run him down.
Yeah, he lost a half a second on
Blood in the water.
the previous lap, and now he's having to go through that traffic that the 12 car at Ryan Blaney is still only a second and a half back right here, as you see Blaney right up in front of him, stuck behind Daniel Suarez.
Same 2 cars that gave him fits when he almost wrecked.
Now listen to how much Ty Gibbs is out of the throttle on the entry right now.
Been out, Lars, and everything fine.
Yeah, and right now the trick is lose as little time as possible, right? Like when you get to a lap car, if you can get to him just a couple tenths better than Ryan Blaney gets to him, then you're gonna make up ground. But Blaney's struggling up there in front of him, Clint.
There's a ton of traffic in front of the 12 car.
So Ryan Blaney is not having success getting through that group of cars.
Ryan Blaney has not won a Cup race at Bristol on 2 occasions. He's been leading and got into trouble.
We're lapping up to 14th place, and those positions are racing for a really, really valid right. They're battling hard for position. Those lappers are extremely hard to lap.
How about the second place car, Regan?
I'd like just to add on what Ty Gibbs is doing right now since the start of this run. Tyler Allen and spotter Tony Hirschman have been wearing out the radio buttons, telling him, run your race, run your pace, manage your tires. This is still going to be a long run. And he's been doing a very nice job of that. And we'll have to see if it was enough to be able to catch that 12 car.
He's got 34 laps to do it.
Not what he wanted to see there. No. That's going to hold him up. Timing is everything when you're catching these lappers at this place.
Hocevar 4th. Working traffic. Briscoe in 5th.
Yeah, Briscoe, he's been super quiet today. He's been in the top 5 and right around it all day, but hasn't done anything spectacular. Just done what he needed to do to keep that track position, have solid restarts, and not make any mistakes.
Now, he's been as high as 2nd in this race. He's not been one of its 3 leaders. But a good solid day for the 19 crew. Ty Gibbs, Carson Hocevar in that top 5, both gunning for their first career win. Well, as is Todd Gilliland. I wouldn't call him a favorite, but I wouldn't count anybody out right now.
Now, and you see Denny Hamlin on the inside right there, and I think Todd, he's starting to fade just a little bit with those two tires, but in the end, I still think this is going to work out to be a way better finish for them than what they would have had if they didn't make that call.
Tyler Reddick comes into the picture in the 45, trying to improve on 8th place here.
And Gillen falling back to about 7th now. 28 laps to go for Ryan Blaney, the race leader, who's got about an 8 to 9 tenth of a second advantage over the 54. That 12 car is getting very loose and struggling with the heavy amount of lap traffic as well. Brad Keselowski trying to stand the lead lap right in front of Ryan Blaney, and it's been a very difficult time trying to get by his former teammate. Blaney actually got into the back of Brad right before Blaney got loose. And now Ryan going to try to the outside. The good news is there's 2 lap cars in the rearview mirror between the 12 and the 54 yet, and about to be 3 if the 12 can finally get by the 6, which still has not been able to do so. Full field running order rundown now with about 25 laps to go in the race. Ryan Blaney in the race lead. Well, we'll just go through the top 5 here so we don't miss anything. Ryan Blaney leads, Ty Gibbs 2nd, Kyle Larson 3rd, Carson Hocevar 4th, and Chase Briscoe in 5th. Gibbs has gotten by one of those 3 lap cars. Now there's 3 more with Gregson going a lap down at the hands of the 12. Keselowski did get lapped about a lap and a half ago. Oh, Chase Elliott's got some problems and the caution's out with 24 laps to go. Elliott a lap down in 19th. Well, that's problematic for Ryan Blaney because that pit crew has not been good today. All season, but today too. So 23 laps left. Caution is out. And Chase just got loose all on his own, running the outside of the racetrack. Spin took place in turns 1 and 2. Hard to tell if he got against the wall or not with that spin. I would imagine he probably scuffed it a bit, but either way, caution's out. Pit road going to be open soon. Do you pit or do you not pit? Let's take a look at how many cars are on the lead lap. We got 13 cars on the lead lap. Somebody's going to stay out. I think you got to stay out, honestly. 90 laps on these tires is a lot, but I think you got to stay out of the pits. Stay out. If he does pit, you got to go rights only. Todd Gilliland held on for almost 100 laps before he faded with just those lefts on the race car. And if you really put all the laps together, I mean, he had... Oh, wow. Blaney pits. Gibbs stays out. Larson in.
Have time to get back up to the front, Josh.
Unbelievable.
For Kyle Larson, the decision was to come in here and get tires. As they come into the pit stall, decision is to call for 2 or 4 tires. We're taking a look at that one. Set it to Regan. Ryan Blaney making his way around turns 3 and 4, all the way down to that very first pit stall where he's pitted. He was freer that last run on fire off, told the team that, and the question was, do you want to do code word number 7? He said yes, so obviously number 7 was to pit. We'll have to see if it's 2 or 4 tires, but very lonely feeling on pit road with not many cars behind them.
They're taking 4. Blaney's taking 4.
Carson's going to be first on.
Oh my gosh.
He will be 6th in the running order.
And he lost a spot.
Because Ty Gibbs stayed out. So did Hocevar, Briscoe,
Yep.
Hamlin, and Reddick.
I mean, I called it about 40 laps ago. There was like, what, 50, 55 laps to go in the race. I think the winning strategy, you had to stay out of the pits. We saw it yesterday in the O'Reilly race, and that was with 3 cars staying out. It sounds like 5 cars stayed out this time. Gibbs is going to have some wiggle room. And that was with about 100 laps on their tires. This is with about 100 laps on their tires, a little less than that, about 85, 90 green flag laps. And Blaney lost a spot on pit road, by the way, as well. Larson actually won the race out of the pits. So with 5 staying out, that means Blaney's going to go from leading back to 7th. I was afraid of that. I mean, it mind boggles me that these crew chiefs make these decisions. I'm just sitting at the comfort of my own home watching the race with you guys every weekend. But it mind boggles me when there's a track with no fall off, like Phoenix, like here, how many teams either choose not to stay out or take 2 tires depending on like how many laps you have on them. Obviously 90 laps, and I guess with only 8 cars pitting, taking 4, you had the advantage there if you're Larson and Blaney with all the lap traffic between you and the rest of the cars that did pit behind you. But Ty Gibbs is going to be the leader on the restart. Carson Hocevar is up to 2nd now, so the front row, each driver's looking for the first career wins. This will be interesting. Ty Gibbs 1st, Carson Hocevar is 2nd, Chase Briscoe 3rd, Denny Hamlin is currently 4th, and Tyler Reddick 5th. Those were the 5 that stayed out of the pits. Kyle Larson is now 6th after winning the race off pit road. Ryan Blaney 7th, Todd Gillen 8th, Chris Buescher 9th, Ryan Preece 10th. 11th is Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace 12th, AJ Allmendinger 13th, Brad Keselowski 14th, and Daniel Suarez 15th is the last car on the lead lap. I believe Suarez got the free pass, and Keselowski took the wave around. And 16th, a lap down is Zane Smith, Austin Cindric 17th. 18th is Austin Dillon. 19th is Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Riley Herbston 20th. 21st, Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott 22nd, Michael McDowell 23rd, Kyle Busch 24th, Eric Jones 25th, Noah Gragson 26th, Cole Custer 27th, Christopher Bell 28th, Ty Dillon 29th, Cody Ware 30th, William Byron 31st, Josh Berry 32nd, Connor Zilic 33rd, Shane Van Gisbergen 34th, John Hunter Nemechek 35th, Chad Fincham 36th, and Alex Bowman 37th, rounding out the field. We're going to have at least 15 laps to go, if not less, when we get back to racing here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Well, like I said, I think you had to stay out to win this race. We saw it yesterday in the O'Reilly race, and even more cars stayed out this time. I don't think Larson and Blaney get up there, honestly. And they have less laps to get through there than the O'Reilly race yesterday. Remember, and that's what shocks me with Larson, is that he literally lost the race yesterday on this strategy, and they go right back to it again. And now he's got more cars to pass. He would have been in 2nd right there with Gibbs. Hocevar takes the outside of row number 2. Briscoe, who is in 3rd, will have the inside of row 1 below his teammate, Ty Gibbs. This is Gibbs' 4th full-time season in the NASCAR Cup Series. He has yet to win at this level. Carson Hocevar, in his 3rd full-time season all with Spire Motorsports, also looking for his first career win, very much in contention. All right, green flag back in the air. Outside lane gets the launch. Briscoe on the bottom did not. Stacking up Hamlin and Blaney on the inside. 3 wide for 2nd for a brief moment. Tyler Reddick sweeps through, and he's up to 2nd. Is Reddick going to win this again? Tyler Reddick with a great restart, going from 5th to 2nd. Hocevar and Briscoe are sliding around, holding up Larson and Blaney. Larson into the back of the 77, squeezes through on the outside, 3 wide. Larson's up to 3rd, 14 to go. Reddick looking to the inside of Ty Gibbs for the lead. Larson on the high side is gaining ground on both of the top 2. And Blaney's up to 4th just behind Larson. Side by side still. Larson may get boxed in behind the 54 and 45. Fresh tires may prevail after all. He's coming on strong and still 12 to go. Gibbs leads. Reddick is still underneath of him. How is Larson going to try to pull this off as he's boxed in, and he needs to get by these guys before Blaney catches him. He's going to push Gibbs down the backstretch, try to get him a shove forward. Gibbs is going to be able to get clear of Tyler Reddick for the lead at the start-finish line. Now Larson attacks on Reddick for 2nd, and Ryan Blaney's right there, hanging on the left rear of Larson. Larson to second. He blows by Reddick. Blaney will do the same. He'll get to third. No, Blaney not able to get to third yet. He's still on the outside of Reddick. That buys Larson just a little bit more time to run down the 54. Gibbs with the clean air. He's more than a couple laps into the run now. That's going to help the tire life for Ty Gibbs. Larson changes his line. He goes to the bottom. That gives Blaney a huge run up high. And now Blaney with the slingshot move to the inside on Larson for second. The longer the 12 and the 5 battle, the better for the 54. They're running out of laps. And these laps go by quickly at this track. More so than any other on the circuit. Ty Gibbs doing what he needs to right now. Blaney not quite clear of Larson for second yet. They still battle side by side. 7 laps to go with the line this time by. Blaney is so close to clearing the 5 car, but has to give him a little bit more room again. Gibbs did not get through turns 1 and 2 well that time. Blaney did. On the bottom, he's clear of Larson for second. Goes right back to the inside one more time. Gibbs up high. Gibbs leads. 6 laps to go. Can Ty Gibbs get his first career win? He's going to have to fight for his life against the sport's best, Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson. 5 laps to go. Blaney wiggles on the bottom. Big mistake. Here comes Larson. But Blaney shuts the door on the 5 as quickly as possible to keep from losing a spot. Gibbs buys in a little bit more time. Blaney again overdrives turns 1 and 2. Larson into the back of him. Straightens him out. A lot of ground lost for the 12 and the 5 after that mistake from Blaney. 4 laps to go for Ty Gibbs. He's got a half a second lead. Oh boy. Larson drops back a lot of ground. Blaney really pulled him that last lap or so. And Riley Herbst is around. One Monster Energy car going to bring out a caution coming to 3 to go, while the other leads the race. Oh boy. Yellow flag out. Riley Herbst has a flat right front tire. And this is going to set up an overtime restart here at Bristol. That was a lot of hold your breath racing going on there. The chase was on. Looking at a replay of what happened to Herbst there. He got loose out of turn 4, and then Busch kind of finished him off on the front straightaway. Gibbs just getting to the outside of that 35 right after Herbst was sideways. And obviously not enough time for Busch to have to back out of the gas by any means. It was not his fault. Just 35 losing control and turned him. Probably would have had it saved had Busch not gotten into him, but it's close quarters racing at Bristol. Nothing more than that. I thought for a split second Tyler Reddick got the second. He was going to win this freaking race again. I was like, there's no way. He's going to win 5 of them already? He was side by side with Gibbs for like 2 or 3 laps there. Oh my gosh. That restart had everything. Stories everywhere. Dean Tate, welcome to the stream. Late but here for the finish. You're missing a wild one, Dean. Bristol, baby. Going into overtime now, but what a dash that 15-lap stretch or so was. Blaney needs to have the restart of his life here. Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. Nobody's been side by side with the leader on a restart off of turn 2 on that opening lap after restart all day today. The heat cycle in the tires, I think, is going to help Gibbs here, and obviously being the control car, good for him as well as he tries to go for his first career win, leading the way. You put yourself in the top 5 over and over and over again like Ty Gibbs has done over the last few weeks, you're bound to land a victory at some point sometime soon if that consistency stays up. It has today with those 5 straight 6th place finishes or better coming into the day, 4 top 5s, tied for the most in the series, and now trying to go for that first career win. He was 3rd in the spring race at Bristol last year. This is a good track for him. And here he is now leading late. Man, it's gonna be interesting. 2 laps at Bristol's not a lot of time. Like overtime at intermediate track, super speedways, at least there's like enough time. It's gonna be really tough to beat Ty Gibbs. Blaney will take the inside of row 1, Larson on the outside of row 2. I don't think there's a right or wrong decision for Blaney to take inside or outside. I think the hope is you get a good enough launch and you kind of wash the 54 up the track a bit. As many laps that both the 12 and the 5 led today, neither one of these two want to lose this race this way. And for Ty Gibbs, he doesn't want to lose because he's never been in a position like this, leading on an overtime restart with a shot to win now his first career NASCAR Cup race, a former O'Reilly Series champion. Overtime rules, obviously, they get to the white flag. Next flag ends the race, whether it's the yellow or the checker. Ty Gibbs, Ryan Blaney, front row, Larson, row 2 on the outside, Reddick underneath him, green flag back in the air. Good launch for Ty Gibbs, Blaney down around the bottom, trying to hang tight with the 54. And he can't do it on the first corner of the first lap of the restart. 3 and 4 gets right back to the inside. Side by side for the lead. Gibbs wiggled up out of turn 4, gives Blaney a little bit of life. Ryan Blaney still on the inside of Ty Gibbs, and he's going to have to make a desperation move in 3 and 4. He lost ground getting into the corner. Off the exit, Gibbs is there. Sideways at the line as Blaney holds on to it, but Ty Gibbs is going to win by about a half a car length. And a near photo finish. First career win for Ty Gibbs, and it comes at Bristol in the Food City 500. Gibbs with the win, Blaney second, Larson third, Tyler Reddick fourth, and Chase Briscoe rounds out the top 5 and 5th. Todd Gilliland with a 6th place finish, Joey Logano 7th, Ryan Preece 8th, Denny Hamlin 9th, Carson Hocevar rounds out the top 10. 11th for Bubba Wallace, Daniel Suarez in 12th, Chris Buescher 13th, Brad Keselowski 14th, AJ Allmendinger in 15th, Austin Cindric 16th, finishes as the last car in the lead lap. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 17th, Austin Dillon 18th, Zane Smith 19th, and Ross Chastain 20th. Riley Herbst 21st, Chase Elliott 22nd, Eric Jones 23rd, Michael McDowell 24th, Kyle Busch 25th, Noah Gragson 26th, 27th, Christopher Bell, Cole Custer 28th, Ty Dillon 29th, and William Byron 30th. Cody Ware 31st, Josh Berry 32nd, Connor Zilch 33rd, Shane Van Gisbergen 34th, John Hunter Nemechek 35th, Chad Fincham 36th, and Alex Bowman 37th rounds out the full field finishing order. 12 lead changes, 9 cautions, 3 hours, 1 minute, 49 seconds. We finished in overtime in the originally scheduled 500 lap race here at Bristol. 72 of those just over 500 laps under yellow today. Ty Gibbs with the race win. He led 25 laps. The 2 guys behind him, Ryan Blaney led for 190. Kyle Larson for 284. Larson won the first 2 stages. 6 laps led for Chase Elliott. That's it. 4 drivers led today. Top 3 were the 3 best cars for most of this race, and it's Ty Gibbs getting the win. Here he is on the front stretch at Bristol.
This one is one special. Never forget your first one, do you? No, you don't. And
See his crew chief Tyler Allen right there.
And he had to hold off two former champions to do it, Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson. The two most recent champions, might I add. Two of the most recent champions.
He began this year composed, confident, a different Ty Gibbs that finished up last season. He was on a mission, and today, it's mission accomplished. In the midst of it all is Josh Sims.
Well, Ty Gibbs, you've been knocking on the door of this first career Cup Series victory for a while now. Today, you get to say you are a winner in the Cup Series. Describe the emotion.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, it's awesome what you can do with great people, and to be in this position is great. You know, I would love for my father to see this, but I know he knew it was going to happen and expected it as well. So yeah, it's a great day for us. My kicker boys didn't give up. Kicker is just amazing. You know, this is our family. Miller! And it's been great. So you know, this is such a great deal. You know, very honored to be in this situation. Thank you for Monster Energy. Been with me my whole career. Thank you for Mitch Covington, Dave Gallen, Helton, everybody a part of it that's been, you know, they've been with me since I was a kid. So I really appreciate this. Woo!
Ty, bring me back through the end of that race. You had to hold off Ryan Blaney. You had to hold off a two-time champion in Kyle Larson. What did it take to have the composure to bring this thing home?
Yeah, you know, honestly, I didn't really care if I was going to win or not. I thought the race was awesome. I thought we were all, you know, us all putting on the races was great. Kind of, you know, I feel like it's been like us the whole year. So, you know, I really appreciate always, you know, racing Ryan Blaney and Kyle too. Those guys always, you know, run me really well. And we all run really good together and hard. So, you know, hopefully we put a great show for the fans. I really appreciate it. Thank you for Team 54 and everybody that's a part of this whole deal. What a great day.
Ty Gibbs gets his first career Cup Series victory.
And Coach Gibbs, the owner of the team, and today, grandfather. Coach, you've had a lot of wins in your career, a lot of championships. What is this moment like right now, watching your grandson get his first win?
This is one of my best experiences. Obviously, when Denny won, honoring JD's life was such a huge deal. But I think about Coy. He brought Ty up the entire time. I know he's probably watching. And so I just want to thank so many people. It starts with God. He's blessed us and our family. I just really, really can't say enough.
Hey, this is the man right here. I've never seen somebody work so hard in my life. You know, him and my mom. I come to the shop at 6 a.m. or 7 p.m. or when everybody's there, and they're not there. They're always there. They work their asses off. I really appreciate it. This is a great role model. I wouldn't be here if it was for him.
It's just a huge deal for all of us. I just appreciate everything so much. I don't know if I'm still on here or not, but thank Tyler, Colpern, Grayson, all of our guys on the team. They did so much for this. Everybody back at Joe Gibbs Racing, thank y'all so much for us being able to enjoy this. It's one of the great blessings I've had in life.
Mike, send it over to Regan, okay?
Okay, Regan, do something for a change. Do something.
Well, Ryan Blaney,
Do something.
and that fantastic finish, Ryan. Just some great battling at the end of the race right there. And you and I were talking. You said it got a little loose one of the times. You thought maybe you had an opportunity. Anything that last green white checkered you could have done different?
Yeah, I mean, great battle for sure. You know, good battle all day. I thought with a lot of different cars. Yeah, I mean, I got 3 into 3. You know, 2 or 3 laps before the last yellow, and I kind of was side by side with Ty, and I just slipped it in there. It was really easy to slip off the bottom, and that kind of cost me some time. And then, yeah, I don't know. I mean, gave it my best shot the last restart. Got a good restart, and you know, it was close, but just couldn't get it done. But proud of the effort by all the 12 folks. Give me a really fast car in qualifying. Got it better through the race, honestly. Halfway point of the race, I thought we got to be the best car, which was really good. So appreciate that effort. Thanks Discount Tire, Ford Racing, Menards, Advanced Auto Parts, Body Armor, Wabash, everybody who puts a lot into our program. Gosh, I really wanted to win at Bristol here. It came close, but congrats to Ty. He's been really close. nothing's more special than your first Cup win. It's pretty cool to win here at this place and to race him too. So yeah, we'll move on. But fun day. Just wish we could have made it happen.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Rick.
First career NASCAR Cup Series victory for Mr. Ty Gibbs. Long time coming. He's been great all season. With some of the drivers and points around him having struggles today, he's going to be top 5 in points and one of just 5 drivers to win a race so far this season. Great finish, great race as a whole. Had a lot of fun with this one. This has been one of my favorite races this season, honestly, to call. And my favorite driver finished second by a half a car length. So it just goes to show this was a pretty spectacular day, and hopefully you enjoyed today's live commentary coverage of it all. We're going to be live again next weekend, all weekend long for O'Reilly and NASCAR Cup Series action. Trucks will be off at Kansas next week. We'll be live for NASCAR Cup Series practice and qualifying at 4 p.m. Eastern on Saturday afternoon, and then we'll also be live on Saturday night for the O'Reilly race at 7 p.m. Eastern. Earlier start next Sunday for the Cup race. We'll be live at 1:30 p.m. Eastern for Cup at Kansas, and that's a fun racetrack too. It's a good stretch of NASCAR coming up here. We got Bristol. Martinsville was a pretty decent show a couple weeks ago. You got Talladega right around the corner after Kansas. It's a lot of fun at this time of the year for the NASCAR schedule, and I'm thankful to have all that fun with you every weekend. Have a good rest of your night, everybody. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content and live commentary streams like this every weekend. Catch you next time. Have a good, happy rest of your Sunday. And congrats again to Ty Gibbs for winning his first career NASCAR Cup event here today at Bristol.